So coming in off of a short week on each side, the Texans with that electrifying overtime comeback victory against Jacksonville. The Lions lost a tough one against Green Bay here on Sunday, and Jim Nance, Phil Simms back here getting ready to get this one started. We're going to see the Lions offense out there first.
Well, Jim Schwartz says, I always take the football because I believe in our offense. I want to show them I have confidence in them. And, of course, he wants to get a lead so he can unleash that defensive front.
Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. I mentioned it's a beautiful day in Detroit, and already all kinds of festivities have taken place here downtown. Tens of thousands coming out for the turkey trot and the parade. It's 72 inside and, well, 60 outside. Logan is back. Stephon Logan waiting for the pick from Graham, who's got a career high in touchbacks and earns another one right here. So let's bring out Matthew Stafford in the Lions attack. Here is Matthew, 12 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on the season. Bill will talk more about his arm. He considers it one of the top 5 arms in pro football. His line has a change. Jeff Backus finally missing a game for the first time since the 7th grade. Riley Reef will step in for him, the first rounder out of Iowa. And Calvin Johnson coming off another big game against the Packers. 5 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown. In fact, the Lions come out with both Pettigrew and Heller, a double tight end formation, and a little play action fake, and we've got a sack on the first play of the game by J.J. Watt.
That's the guy you got to look for. The Detroit Lions talked about maybe today using that running back to always find out where J.J. Watt is, and Sherrillis not able to get him right off the start. And you watch J.J. Watt. He expects them to pass the football. The Lions hold the football. They like to throw it deep down the field. So that just gives a defensive lineman more hope getting to the quarterback.
Perhaps a harbinger of another big game to come for this player out of Wisconsin in his second year. Many consider the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. A loss of 7, 2nd and 17, and Stafford's able to fire it incomplete into that secondary. That was actually near Quentin Tibbs, that pass, the Texans safety. There is J.J. Watt, their first-round pick a year ago from Badgerland. And here is Barwin, who returns home. He's a Detroit kid by way of the University of Cincinnati. And Alan Ball comes in and starts today. Jonathan Joseph is out with the hamstring injury. They worked him out. And Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator, who's done such a magnificent job in his 2 years, having to go today without his star corner.
Well, will he change his defensive style? The fact that Jonathan Joseph is not in there.
Walt
Neutral
Coleman.
zone infraction, number 99 on the defense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So it's called on J.J. Walt Coleman marking off 5 against the Texans.
Matthew Stafford really worked hard on his snap count in practice on Tuesday. Why do you do that if you're a quarterback and you're going against a defensive lineman or a defense that's fast, likes to get off, get to the quarterback? You change that snap count up to make them at least think and hesitate a little more to help your offensive line out.
Kevin Smith comes into the backfield.
Hey, 29,
Mike
29.
Thomas is a receiver recently traded for from the Jacksonville Jaguars. 3rd down and 12. Stafford, beautiful throw, and he's got the first down. He's got Ryan Broyles with the catch, and Broyles an important part of the game plan today for the Lions, coming in for Titus Young, who is going to sit this one out because of conduct detrimental to the team.
Yeah, look up front, double team on 99, J.J. Watt, and you give Broyles that extra time to look down the field, make that move, and get open. This is going to really excite the Detroit Lions. That was a nice head fake by him. That's what did it. They are looking for that second wide receiver to step up. When you're the best defensive lineman out there, you always got to expect this, double teams.
Well, they pick up 25 against the NFL's best 3rd down defense. On a 3rd and 12, they pick up the first, and here's a 1st and 10 run by Michael LaShore right into the arms of Antonio Smith.
Well, Jim, as we were with the Lions, you said it during the opening, desperate football team. They know they probably got to win out to make to the playoffs. But they were excited about this game, which they are always for Thanksgiving. But the fact that they're going to see man coverage. That's all they talked about. Calvin Johnson, oh, I'm going to see some one-on-ones. And the same with Matthew Stafford. They always see zone defenses because of that big guy outside, Calvin Johnson.
They might be excited about playing on Thanksgiving, but they've lost the last 8 years on Turkey Day. 2nd and 9, and down the field, a leaping attempt for the catch, and it's made by Calvin Johnson. Alan Ball defending. What a grab for 20. Did he catch it cleanly?
Goes inside. The first look looks pretty good. I thought he had possession, and then it's clean. The football does hit the ground. That would have to be challenged by Gary Kubiak.
I don't think that would be a challenge that they would win. Antonio Smith was dinged on that last play. He's out on that line, and here's LaShore. LaShore taking off and powering ahead for 13 yards. Let's take a look at our Nationwide Insurance Action Cam.
Now the right side of the line, double team inside, and then Pettigrew comes up inside, gets the block on Sharpton, the linebacker, and that allows LaShore to go in there and get that good gain. And good job by Matt Stafford, changing the snap count up, keep this defensive line off balance.
First down from the Houston 24.
High double.
And Stafford, that pass wide of the mark, and actually Johnson was open.
Well, something you see a lot of Matthew Stafford, even when he gets protections, not a guy that likes to really stay balanced when he throws it. That last completion, Jim, down the inside seam, throwing it to Calvin Johnson. He stays off balance. He throws it exceptionally well off his back foot, can throw it under pressure, has a very limber throwing arm. That's what helps him create so much power throwing it down the field.
His numbers are magnificent when it comes to competition against the other conference. 15 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Driving here on the game's first series. 2nd and 10. With a wide receiver screen, and that goes to Thomas. Again, the recently required receiver by way of Jacksonville picks up another first down.
Yeah, he could do a little bit of everything. That's why they got him. Big guy, 77. Goes outside, Sherless, boom. Gets Brady James. That's the key to those wide receiver screens. Wide receivers blocking, and then that tackle has to get outside and make it happen. And Sherless did that time.
Picks up 12 and a first down at the 12, and Matt Schaub continues to wait to get his turn. Again, a drive that was boosted by a big pickup on a 3rd and 12. Now 1st and 10 and incomplete. Looking for Calvin Johnson again.
Well, you know, Jim, that time Calvin Johnson is open. I'll tell you, there's not a big window for errors when you talk about Matthew Stafford, and really when I say that, it's because the ball gets there quick. So it's not like he's lobbing it out there and the receivers see it. Oh, they can make the adjustments. And watching him practice, watching him warm up for the game, I tell you, threw for about 2 hours out here before the game. That arm doesn't get tired, and like I said, plenty of power.
6 defensive backs in for the Texans. 2nd down and 10, and Stafford flings it, and it's knocked out of the hands of Broyles. Looked like he might come down with it, but Bryce McCain was there to help knock it loose.
Yeah, Bryce McCain, a lot of pressure this time on him in the slot. Little double move, nice move by Broyles. And you got to catch that or get a chance. But McCain, even if it's caught cleanly, looks like he's going to get that hand in there to knock it down. But he's the slot defender. One of the toughest jobs in football now, covering that inside receiver.
Ooh, Stafford thought he had one there.
You know, we heard it for 2 days. They built this football team. Explosive offense, get ahead, and let our pass rush win it.
3rd and 10. Stafford across the middle. He's got Scheffler, who's near first. Tony Scheffler. Where will they mark it? Again, the yellow line is unofficial, but they've signaled first down. First and goal to go.
Tony Scheffler coming from the left side, comes underneath the defense. Pretty conservative call by Wade Phillips down inside. He was gambling the play before, being aggressive, thinking 3rd and long. Let's come up and make the tackle. They can't. Tony Scheffler can still run, make plays. They play him a lot like a wide receiver, even though he's a tight end.
First and goal. LaShore is so tough down here, and he gets the call. LaShore is in for the touchdown. Michael LaShore, his 8th carry of the year inside the 10-yard line, and now 6 of the 8 have gone for touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a really good inside runner, Jim. The Lions know that from tackle to tackle. Big guy can push the pile forward. But how about Dominic Raiola, the center, gets a good block. Earl Mitchell cannot find the running back. J.J. Watt can't make the tackle in the backfield. Well, the offensive line, first play was shaky. After that, they dominated.
So, Jason Hansen, his 20th Thanksgiving Day appearance, boots it through. The first opening drive touchdown of the season by the Lions. LaShore takes it the final 2 yards. Well, after a huge roar for Michael LaShore Sr., recently had a little boy, added to the family, and he wanted to put Senior on the back of that uniform. So Detroit's second first quarter touchdown of the whole year. They were last in the league when it came to first quarter production.
Kind of hard to believe, really, when you talk about the stars. Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson.
Hansen to boot it to Keyshawn Martin. He had a big return game last week against the Jags. Able to slide off a hit, and he just takes it out to the 20. Do have a flag down, brought down by Logan.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 11, kicking team, 15-yard penalty.
So that will help Matt Schaub's cause coming off that 527-yard passing performance. We'll see the Texans next. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms back here at Ford Field in Detroit, and here come the Texans for their first snap of the day. They come out already down 7. And Schaub knows it's a dead play as the flags fly.
False start, 75, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Called on Derek Newton on that right side. Schaub is 12-1 in his last 13 starts, and his performance last week only bettered once in the history of the league as far as yardage. His 527, only Norm Van Brocklin ever threw for more in one game. Myers, a Pro Bowler, the first Texan ever to earn a Pro Bowl trip. He's quite a presence there at center. And Johnson coming off the monster performance. Here they go on the first down throw to Johnson, and it's knocked out by Chris Houston. Houston makes the play on the Texans. That front line impressive, including Sue. Linebackers, Tulloch coming over from the Titans, where Jim Schwartz also arrived from. And Florence will start for Jacob Lacey, who is out with injury. Second down at 15. With a play action and setting up screen. It goes to Garrett Graham, and he is tossed down with aggression by Nick Fairley, who's also really playing his best football.
Oh, he is. Number 98 coming from the left side, reads the screen, and this is what you love. This is how you stop the inside screens in the NFL. You're going to get full defensive linemen, chase it from behind, and how about that? Thing that caught me by surprise when I saw Nick Fairley at practice 2 days ago, he's so much bigger than I expected. He looks like he's about 6'5", and he can run. You said it, Jim.
Third and 15. Forsett on the draw, and he's going to be backed up. After trying to plow ahead in the middle, Durant is there to meet him after a gain of 3, and the Texans with an uneventful 3 and out to begin.
Well, I think the Texans knew what they were walking into here today. This is not a this record of the Detroit Lions, don't believe it. They're close. This is a good football team with superstars on both sides of the ball. And this crowd is ready, and they know they're desperate. They got to win out, so they're off to a great start.
Donnie Jones, the punter. Logan, the returner. Stephon Logan right by the side.
line.
Tight ropes it out of bounds short of the 20. So the Lions off to the good start here, leading it 7-0. As part of the NFL's Play 60 campaign, J.J. Watt of the Texans went to Briar Meadow Charter School for an assembly, then joined the students in some drills outside. Lions players helped students from the Detroit Lions Academy to Play 60 during the 14th annual NFL Hometown Huddle, spreading the word of football, fitness, and a happy Thanksgiving to everybody here as this first quarter is going so far exactly the way the Lions tried to draw it up. They come out for their second series. LaShore dancing around and then pushed back by Brady James. When he scored that touchdown, Phil, that was the first rush touchdown allowed by the Texans the whole year. That's almost hard to imagine. You get to the 11th game, Houston had not surrendered a rush touchdown until LaShore got in.
I think that's a big part of the frustration around here, Jim, is the fact that they built this offense and this team for it to be explosive, to get them in situations where they can really take advantage with their defensive front. And we talked to Jim Schwartz, and that's what he talked about. That, man, he just wants more scoring from the offense, especially early.
Second down and 10. Back to LaShore, and he is smothered by Antonio Smith, who was dinged up a little bit on that first series, but comes out and makes the play. That last drive was impressive.
Well, it's a confidence builder. Third down, hitting the throw down the field, run up inside when they're expecting pass, pick up the third down and 10, going in to score. And it was a confidence builder for, of course, Matt Stafford, the receivers, trying to find the second guy, but really for that offensive line. And we haven't talked about the new left tackle yet, Riley Reef, first-round draft pick, taking over for Backus. That's a good thing.
First series they picked up a 3rd and 12 and a 3rd and 10. This is another 3rd and 10, and a long ball to Broyles. And it's overthrown by a couple of yards.
Yeah, they're always looking for ways to throw it down the field. Here it is, inside release. You think he's going across the field. He widens it. Wow, what a job. Kareem Jackson, Royals from Oklahoma. And Matt Stafford is a good throw, just misses it. And Royals, good start by him. You could see just watching him in last week's and in practice how fast he is and quick.
Nick Harris with his second stint at Detroit had pressure, was able to get that punt away, and that was Freeman who was rushing in, and Martin fields it, but he's out of bounds. But it's going to be a good starting point here for Houston at the 41-yard line after a 41-yard punt. While we were away in commercial, there was a flag thrown against the Texans, and it's against the returner, Martin.
After the punt was over, unsportsmanlike conduct on number 82 of the return team, throwing the ball at an opponent. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So scratch that great starting position at the 41 and back him up to the 26. Felt like he wasn't warned. Backs him up 15. Shot wide open. Daniels and can't hold on near the 50.
Well, there was tight coverage on the first throw to the outside to start the game, so they're going to double move it, Jim, and then watch the tight end Daniels go down the other side. They don't fool him up top of the screen, so good reset by Matt Schaub. Throws it down the seam, but the pressure keeps him from getting it all the way down there. And Adamaka Suh, oh boy, he gets kicked. I thought he got hit, but that was the foot.
It wasn't just any kick. Second down and 10. And Foster has his first carry of the game and give him 4. Got a sports fan on your gift list? Avoid the crowds with CBSSports.com. Shop. Save big on all officially licensed clearance gear with an additional 20% off now at shop.cbssports.com. Bob McNair, the owner, visionary behind this franchise, likes to spend that first quarter down on the sideline.
Get a feel for the game down there.
His team coming off of a 653-yard performance last week against Jacksonville, most in 22 years in the league. And 3rd and 6 is batted away. I don't think Johnson would have had enough for the first anyway had he caught it. Drayton Florence knocked it down.
Drayton Florence kind of iffy, didn't know if he was going to make today's game. They try to send the receivers down the field, bring him underneath, and Drayton Florence, not afraid, an aggressive corner who will play, not worried about somebody going by him deep. So that's a guy that can make plays underneath like we just saw.
By the way, the NFL adjusted their stats overnight just last night off of last week's game, gave them an additional 13 yards off a Foster fumble play that increased that total to jaw-dropping 653. You see the punt here by Jones scooting past Logan, out of bounds at the 16, but to this point, no first downs.
Yeah, I want to know if the NFL can readjust some of my numbers. That's what I mean.
I'll make a call.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Dominic Raiola of the Detroit Lions. This is my wife Yvonne, Taylor, Dylan, and Dayton. On behalf of my family and the Detroit Lions, Happy Thanksgiving.
Dominic in his 12th year and his beautiful family. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Jim Nance, Sims back here in Detroit. As once again a Jones punt has pinned Detroit back inside the 20. Here's a first down snap. Rolling away from the heat. Stafford on the run, throws it away. Jared Crick lost his helmet on that play, the defensive lineman for the Texans. Of course, this is really a great day of football. The lineup is really tasty. You got a little turkey, on some pumpkin pie or pecan pie if you prefer, and a little football. You got the Redskins and Cowboys later today. Tonight, the Patriots at the Jets. Brooks Reed shaken up, the Texans linebacker, so we'll step aside for a moment. Brooks Reed is on the table. Whitney Merciless will come in for him and check out the injury.
Running down the sideline. Oh, boy, just like it. Man, that's painful. And, Jim, it just, first thing that comes to my mind, you're talking about an active player, Brooks Reed, all out.
Oh,
and he plays so hard, and then a short rest week. Did he recover enough? Fatigue sometimes is what causes those type of injuries.
And they played basically 5 full quarters on Sunday against Jacksonville.
Good point.
2nd down and 10. Again, Merciless has come in for Reed. The pass is caught by Scheffler, his 2nd reception, banged out by Brady James, gain of 6. Yeah, how would the Texans recover after that game on Sunday, down 14 in the 4th quarter? They gave up 37, by the way, in that one. That was coming off a stretch, by the way, before they gave up a touchdown in that game. They'd had a stretch of almost 2.5 games without giving up a touchdown. Then all of a sudden, Chad Henne just lit them up.
Well, a lot of plays for the Texans. Short week, Gary Kubiak basically walked through the whole week getting ready for this game. They never put their helmets on, go hard practicing.
3rd and 4, and Stafford flings it, and it's knocked out. Would have been a tough catch anyway for Johnson. Manning was over there along with Ball, and once again the Texans defense for the 2nd straight time forces the punt, 3 plays and out.
Yeah, they're showing you, this just shows you the Detroit Lions showing respect to this Houston Texans pass rush. Get him outside, move the pocket, and always know 99's behind you.
After an opening drive touchdown by the Lions, Texans a pair of 3 and outs. Then the Lions with a pair of 3 and outs. Nick Harris send it down the way to Keyshawn Martin. He won't handle this one. The short punt is down by the Lions at about the 46, and Kasim Osgood says, wait a minute, somebody touched it. Eric Coleman has the football for the Lions. And this actually is worthy of a discussion here. After a 33-yard punt with a signal there from Walt Coleman, Houston football. Did Glover Quinn touch this football?
I think he did, Jim. The ball is, before it comes to the ground, it goes forward.
Well, they're reacting here off the replay inside like they think they have something.
Oh, here goes the challenge flag.
Yeah, it's out. I thought Quinn's reaction said a little something too. Turned around to look right away, like, whoa, what was that?
Detroit is challenging the ruling on the field that the receivers did not touch the ball.
Well, here's another look. Did it touch Glover Quinn? If it did, Detroit will have the takeaway. Well, we all wonder, did he touch it? I think Glover knows the answer to that.
Like when you block in the back, you throw your arms up, it's a dead giveaway.
See how he turned around and looked right away? What was that?
Yes, he's looking for the football, and the flight of the football coming down. You can see it kicks forward right away, goes to the other side. You know, footballs don't change their line of flight like that in mid-air as they're coming down.
I was checking to see if 58 there, the Lions touched it. Ashley Palmer, I don't believe he did. Here he comes running past it. Could he have changed the course?
Oh, that's a good shot, Jim.
That one right there definitely looks like Quinn.
And you're right.
Touched the football.
Right away you see Glover Quinn looking for the football.
Yep.
He's going to pick it up.
It's that first reaction.
And remember, you got to see that it hit, and you had to see that a Detroit line player clearly recovered it, which we saw too.
Yeah, that was Coleman who recovered it. Jim Schwartz watching the video board. Sim Osgood said, I told you, coach. I was standing right there and I saw it. Is it conclusive?
Well, that's a great word.
Houston's lost only 2 fumbles all year. It's fewest in the NFL. But this could be number 3.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Detroit will return to the first team timeout.
So that'll cost the Lions a timeout. It just wasn't conclusive enough for Walt Coleman.
Okay. It's his judgment.
So Houston has the football at its own 45. And this holiday season, we thank you for making CBS America's most watched network.
Well, that's a magic word. You know, words that I never say. Unabated to the quarterback and conclusive. It must be conclusive. And Walt Coleman, remember, it's his job. He makes the decision, and he said he did not see enough on that replay to overturn it on the field.
Walt Coleman of Tuck Rule fame of yesteryear. First down and 10 and up the middle. The Lions are ready for that one. Arian Foster.
Kind of interesting watching this Houston Texans offense here early, trying to go up inside and with their run game. Now this run game of theirs, it is absolutely fantastic. They're 8th in the NFL in rushing, but it's going to be a little harder to get outside against the Detroit Lions defense because their defensive ends line up so wide and they come crashing down inside. That's what makes it hard to run outside.
You may have seen it. Foster's got a streak going of 100-yard runs, 100-yard games on the road. He's got 2 on that carry. It'll be 3rd and 8 coming up. Durant making another play. And the Lions looking very feisty here in the first quarter.
I'd say so. There's no doubt about it. And that was a good job by Durant. The blocking was not there on the front side. When you cut it back, either the defensive tackle or the backside linebacker. That time it was Durant right there to make the tackle. Like you did, Jim, you're a little feisty.
Yes, indeed. I love the holiday.
Before the game.
No. Spreading cheer. 3rd and 8. Job to Daniels, and he's going to be stopped short. It's Durant with another tackle, and the Texans are just outside of a yard away for the first.
Well, they try to clear it down the middle, and then watch Owen Daniels going to fake like he's going outside, comes back in, and that is a nice recovery by Durant, who is really good in the passing game. Athletic.
Houston's going to punt. They kept the offense out there for a moment, but it's a little more than a yard to go for the first.
Yeah, it's a good job. I definitely would punt it here. The crowd's into it. The Lions, you said it, they're a little feisty. They got energy. Don't feed them.
So Donnie Jones again. For the third time, pins the Lions inside the 20. Fair catch made by Logan at the 10. Well, it all started back in 1934, the Thanksgiving tradition. The Bears and the Lions played in that first one at the University of Detroit's Titan Stadium. The Bears won at 1916. That year, boxer and Detroit resident Joe Louis turned professional. Augusta National started this little tournament called the Augusta National Invitation, became the Masters. And owner George Richards started the Thanksgiving Day tradition. This was his baby. And boy, do we thank the visionary George Richards for bringing this to our lives. First and 10, Stafford. Trying to go back over to Mike Thomas, and it's batted away. Nice play there by Kareem Jackson.
How about that, Kareem Jackson? You know, a lot of times when an offense is backed up, if you're a defensive back, you got to expect, well, they might make a double move. They go deep looking for that big play to catch you off guard. He has none of that. Number 25 to the left of your screen, all over it. Right hand behind the receiver, left hand knocks it down. That's perfect. Confident player this year, Kareem Jackson. Jonathan Josephs came down there. Shoot, believe in yourself, and he shows that confidence on the field.
Second down and 10 from the goal line. Your sidearm throw by Stafford, going back in the area of Broyles as Stafford adjusted his throwing lane, if you will, by just sidewinding it right there, Phil.
Oh, yeah, he probably can do this about as well as any quarterback that I've seen since Brett Favre. When he gets pressure, and like I said, sometimes I think he does a little too much, but he can throw it sidearm, directly overhead, any way you want. He's a good baseball pitcher, too, with those deliveries.
Third and 10, trying to avoid for this game now a sixth consecutive possession. It ends in 3 plays and a punt, and Stafford will move the chains as he hits Pettigrew as tight end for 12 and a first down.
Well, the way that this Houston Texans team is playing defense, they're going to make the Lions beat them with these underneath receivers. And that time, Pettigrew just gets a little window. He is a big tight end, and then Stafford just drills it in there. Boy, he caught the back end of that football. But the Texans being a little more careful, playing deeper, trying to stop the big play.
Third time they picked up a first down on 3rd and 10 or longer. Here on first down, moving the legs. Nice run by LaShore. Just churning and churning, but there is a flag. And it's going to come back.
Holding, number 66, offense. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Stephen Peterman, the right guard, called for that one, taken away. A nice burst there by LaShore.
Yeah, right guard, you said it, 66 to the outside. Okay. Judgment call. Did he have the arms wrapped around him? J.J. Watt really was just trying to dive inside to make the play, but it happened so fast.
First and 20. LaShore, not this time. It is J.J. Watt makes the play.
Yeah, you know, he's just such a good athlete. That's what, you know, he's not one of these, oh, he's just high effort, that's why he does well. No, he's high effort with great talent. You know, he's flexible, he can bend, he can overpower you, he can outquick you. Smart football player. You know, it kind of goes, you know, he's a good athlete, Jim. He was a excellent, outstanding hockey player in his youth, and I think that served him well playing football too.
Left me speechless. Second down at 22.
Boy, there's not much that can do there.
And Johnson with another flag down.
Illegal hands to the face, 71. Offense, at the distance to the goal. Still second down.
Now that's Reef again, who comes in and gets the start today for Jeff Backus at left tackle.
There you go, C71, left side of your screen. Oh, he gets that hand up in there against Mercer. Oh, boy, didn't see it. I watched it live. Took his helmet off.
And there's Backus after 186 straight starts. Never missed a start in his pro career, in his 12th year, his college career. And he told us before the game he goes back to the 7th grade since the last time he did not start a game, out with a hamstring. And again, Reed is the word up from the Texans. Questionable to return with that groin injury. I doubt we'll see him. 2nd and 27. And able to get out of trouble and then fire back to Pettigrew. Oh, Stafford for a moment was in a pinch, but somehow he was able to squeeze out of it and pick up 24.
I mean, you have to make Matt Stafford throw the ball short, as he does a nice job, steps up into the pocket. He is looking down the field. He wants to launch it, but he realizes he's in trouble. J.J. Watt and crew are chasing him, and he throws it to Pettigrew. Look at him. He wants to fire deep. He is definitely a home run hitter. And again, on the move, nice job going sidearm. That's what you want to do when you're going sideways.
That's going to end the first quarter. The Texans, off of 653 yards last week, had 16 in that opening quarter. And the Lions lead at 7-0 after 1. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Game day, babe. They don't playoff game.
Kid Rock, celebrate. He's going to be here at halftime performing live, and we'll have it for you. So we start the second quarter here at Ford Field. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, and the Lions have had the best of it through one. Got a 3rd and 3 to start this quarter. That ball deflected.
It's not unusual there, of course, when you talk about this Houston Texans defensive line. Jim, what do they got? They got the SWAT team.
Yeah, well, I think it was J.J. SWAT maybe on this one, wasn't it? Or Smith? It was Antonio Smith
who got his first knockdown pass last week.
In fact, got 2 of
Jacksonville.
them.
Yeah, there you go.
2 of them.
It's contagious. They talk about it. They are awesome at watching the quarterback and getting their hands up.
Harris. Didn't catch that one either. Martin comes up, dances around, breaks a tackle. Got a flag down though. Flag down in the area where the ball was caught. For a 39-yard punt and a 10-yard return.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 59 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Now, going back to that first quarter, Dominican Sue, on a play early in this game, kicked quarterback Matt Schaub. Some might say this was intentional. Of course, it was a year ago today when Sue got into quite a firestorm when he did kick the Green Bay Packers offensive lineman. Here it is.
Well, I know that was intentional. I can't say anything about that play today. If you made me say yes or no, I'd say no, it was not intentional.
Down the field and has Johnson all the way to the Lions 35.
Well, this Houston Texans team, once they start the play action pass, Andre Johnson's going to come all the way across the field. Just watch what happens. And then it's a good fake. I'm looking at the running back, and look at the guys on defense chasing the runner. Uh-oh, look out. And Matt Schaub does a nice job. Careful throw across the field instead of up it, and he gets the big gain.
37 yards on his first catch of the game. They had 16 yards in the whole first quarter. Forsett gets the edge and then gets slammed down by Delmas, who gives them quite a presence in that secondary. Louis Delmas, who's been battling a knee injury, holds him to an 8-yard gain. Looked like it might have gone for more.
Jackson, the D-tackle or defensive end, gets caught inside. And how about this? Delmas. Even the Houston Texans said to us, when he's in the game, their defense has more energy and they take more chances because he's a safety. He cleans up everybody's mess.
Foster back. Foster with the carry, and he is sliding down inside the 20 into the 19. And he burst that one for 11, running behind Antoine Caldwell, who came in at right guard.
Yeah, he comes in every once in a while, but you think they're going outside, and then boom, it's a big, quick cutback, and it works that time because the backside tackle cannot get in there.
Also got Ryan Harris in at right tackle, so the two backups getting some snaps and performing well on that play as the Texans have their first threat of the game.
Some backups on the defensive line for Detroit.
Foster waiting, shakes off the hit and dives ahead to pick up 3. Broke away for a moment from Nick Fairley.
So, Jim, the two backup defensive linemen in there, Jackson and Sammy Hill, both got caught. When you see Arian Foster cut back, well, we got a little, what's the word for it, teaching lesson by the Lions. When that runner cuts back, the backside player has to be there to make the tackle. You can't get blocked, and you can't get knocked down.
Forsett back in for Foster on 2nd and 7. Schaub still has it. Schaub looks, now fires underneath. That's Casey breaking a tackle, and Casey then meets Delmas, who's a hard-hitting safety. He broke away from Drayton Florence, gains 5.
Well, they tried the all-out fake, trying to throw the football down the field to Calvin Johnson. Casey. Drayton Florence doesn't get his arms out, just tries to go for the, I'll hit him low and knock his feet out from under him. But Casey, good athlete, protects himself and gets in a position where the Houston Texans should think about running it twice here to get the first down.
Now 3rd and 2.
Well, there goes the run.
Yep, empty it out. And Schaub looks over to Foster, and he's got the first down. First and goal to go from the 6. Needed 2, picked up 5.
Well, it's just, when you talk about this Texans offense, it's about movement and shifting, make you think on the move. And that, look, Calvin Johnson outside, and nice job, Arian Foster quick. You're looking for a couple yards, accurate throw.
This is the area of the field last week where Garrett Graham became a presence for them, their 3rd-year backup tight end from Wisconsin. Caught a couple of touchdowns. But they're going to go here with Arian Foster, and he gets free, and he's in for a touchdown. Running behind Dwayne Brown.
That was unbelievable. Are you talking about, it's an overused word, oh, you need patience as a running back. I don't know, never ran the football, but there is nothing there. And watch Arian Foster just kind of stays with it, and boom, Dwayne Brown seals it. They kick it out, and Graham, his name comes up a lot. Gets Drayton Florence, kicks him outside, and the lane opens, and he takes off.
The 11th rushing touchdown of the season for Arian Foster, his 13th overall, and the change of quarters brought a little change of momentum here for Houston. High snap, but Jones gets it down, and Graham delivers the point. Schaub was 3 of 3 on the drive, but Foster took the last 6 yards, and Houston's on the board. Arian Foster comes to Detroit, scores a touchdown. Grew up a huge Barry Sanders fan. Remember when we met with Arian back in September in Denver? He was saying that he actually remembers crying as a young kid when he heard the news that Sanders was retiring. Here's Logan. And he won't make it to the 20. Nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Break down all the NFL action on NFL Monday QB. Monday, 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network. 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
This Sunday, I will be watching a lot of football games. So I'm going to have a lot to say on Monday, Jim. I'll give you a call.
I know you've got a lot to say.
Yeah, apparently I do.
Yes, you do.
And you know what? Actually, somebody listens every once in a while. Which I'm
I know I do. Lions go with LaShore. He is able to squeeze through a tiny little opening, pick up about 3. You know, you look at LaShore. This was a young man, 2nd year out of Illinois, drafted in the 2nd round a year ago, and missed his entire rookie year because of injury, Achilles injury. But you think about this running back position.
Yes.
Job at best not able to come back from a concussion injury that's been lingering now for some a year, really.
Well, it's changed the whole football team, I think, him not being here.
They still talk about him all the time about how much he's missed. 2nd down and 7. And Stafford's pass on target for Calvin Johnson, who the last time these teams met, he caught 2 balls for 154 yards, including a 96-yard touchdown down in Houston.
Calvin Johnson going to fake like he's going across the field, breaks it back outside, and he is wide open. Nice move. J.J. Watt says, if I can't get there, it's funny, we were talking to him last night. He says he never takes his eyes off the quarterback. That's one of the reasons why he can knock down the passes.
Right.
And he goes, you always know it's a pass rusher. Right away, if you're going to get to the quarterback, if I know I'm not, I start looking for the knockdown.
On 1st and 10, Stafford looking for the long ball, and he's got it. Back to Calvin again, right over Alan Ball. Again, the Texans playing today without Jonathan Joseph, and Ball, who really is kind of their 6th DB, steps up today and takes on one of the best in the game.
Well, he played under Wade Phillips in Dallas, so he knows his defensive well. He has the size to compete against Calvin Johnson in those man-to-man coverage type of plays. And how about, when you talk about Calvin Johnson, what did Matt Stafford say? Man, you just got to get it close, because his radius to catch the football, you had to explain to me, Jim, what that meant.
The catch radius is so big.
Yeah, he could catch about anything.
And he hurt a finger last week and didn't really catch anything in practice the last couple of days, but sure-handed today as LaShore manages only a yard.
But real quick, you talk about LaShore, tough inside runner. You said it, job at best. They drafted him in the 2nd round to be the pass catcher, the speed, to take the 5-yard run and make it into a 30-yard run. And you're right. They have still not gotten over the fact that he's not part of this football team, because they built it for him to have a huge role.
Yeah, they were 5-0 with Best last year. And again, LaShore was not a part of it. And LaShore this year, though, has made the most out of his opportunity, including a touchdown already here today. 2nd down and 9. Stafford takes off with it. Gets a yard, saves the sack. Merciless drags him down.
That was a all-or-nothing play, and the Detroit Lions guessed wrong. They're looking to throw it for the touchdown, and the Houston Texans, they must have said, we know something. You get inside the 30, look out. Down at the bottom of the screen, there's Broyles, double coverage, and that's well done. Calvin Johnson to the top of the screen. There's one defender, and his second one is right there looking to the inside. There he is.
Kevin Smith becomes the running back here on a 3rd and 8. Stafford gets another conversion to the NFL's receiving yardage leader. Another 12 yards. He's had a 35-yard catch on this drive as well.
Sharpton on the blitz is picked up. Matthew Stafford. Here comes the blitz. Well, I mean, Kevin Smith just stones it cold. And when you got a blitz on, you got to be a little careful to the outside. Alan Ball gives just a little room. And Matthew Stafford, am I right or wrong about that throwing arm?
Well, you said it's a live arm.
I mean, when he wants to throw at 98 miles an hour, he can let it go.
You said his arm's never going to die.
Yeah, he'll get tired of playing football before his arm does.
He's got a 1st and 10. Pump fake a couple of times now. Flings it for another reception by Pettigrew for 12 yards.
That's a great throw. It really was a great throw by Matthew Stafford. Good job. Keep your hands on it, though. The pressure's coming from the backside. Merciless is going to be chasing him. He's a much better athlete. How about that? Just flicks it sidearm. And for quarterbacks, when you're running towards the sideline, throw it sidearm, please.
4 out of 4 on this drive. Another beauty. Improvising. 1st and goal.
5-0.
Lobs it. Almost intercepted. Ball should have had it. Boy, he was going to Calvin Johnson.
You're right. He played it great. Got into the receiver, had perfect position. Watch the top of your screen. This looks like it'd be hard to do from the off position. And turns to the inside. And Shoot, you're guarding Calvin Johnson. Just can't understand. Well, when you finally get a chance to maybe intercept it like this, just not ready for it. But a great job of coverage.
And there's Jonathan Joseph out with the hamstring injury. 2nd and goal. That's why Alan Ball is out there defending on Calvin Johnson. Going to throw again. Flings it away. That was Connor Barwin defending. Pettigrew the target. And 3rd and goal coming up. J.J. Watt forced him out of the pocket.
Yeah, you know, this is probably, to me, when you talk about this Lions offense, there's just not enough variation. When you get down in here, you can see all the coverage is going outside. That's where you need an inside receiver to really help you out and take advantage of the defense. And that means, of course, running the football too.
Down.
3rd and goal, 5 yards out. Stafford flings it. He's past man for the touchdown. It's Mike Thomas.
That's unbelievable. What a throw. The Texans have the perfect call on it. These throwers and catchers in the NFL now, they're doubling the 2 inside receivers. And how about Matthew Stafford? That was what a release. But I see it all the time on TV, watching him getting ready for the game.
Quentin Demps was back there trying to defend. Mike Thomas has his first touchdown as a member of the Lions. Again, traded to him in the last month. Hanson's got the extra point. We got 6 minutes to go in the first half. And Detroit moves back in front by 7. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. There is Mike Thomas, just scored the touchdown, ending a 10-play drive. Really the big play, the 35-yard throw to Calvin Johnson. And a happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, including the Thompson family from our golf crew, our golf family, Lee and Montana Thompson, and their son, Luke, who's been under the weather the last couple of days, but we're hearing he's doing quite well here over the last 24 hours, and we're all so happy to hear that. Sending them our warmest wishes and thoughts. As Martin breaks out and is able to race out to the 25. John Windling on the tackle. Stafford coming off the touchdown throw to put the Lions back ahead.
I'm Walt Coleman. On behalf of all the officials in the National Football League, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving!
And a thank you to you, Walt Coleman, and your crew. And again, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. The Thanksgiving tradition continues here in Detroit, dating back to 1934. Texans. First down from the 25, and Schaub has an incompletion. Johnson looked like he might snag it for a moment, but Chris Houston, for the 2nd time in this game, jars it out.
Yeah, well, Jim, real quick, here's the touchdown. Thomas going outside. They have double coverage inside. When this receiver drops out, they try to change it. Hope that wasn't too complicated, but the receiver jumps out. Now they got double coverage on Thomas, but he runs through it and makes the catch for the touchdown. Just a great job of staying with it by Thomas, and an excellent throw.
And again, the way he threw it, mesmerizing. Sidearm, 2nd and 10. Fake to Forsett, and has the completion this time to Kevin Walter for a first down gain of 15.
Yeah, this is the new hot pass in the NFL when you can run the football, make the big fake. Look at everybody go forward, and why not? We're talking about the Houston Texans running the football. You know, it's really kind of hard to believe when you look at it. They're only 8th in the NFL. But on both sides of the ball, Jim, they are ranked high in every major category in football.
And they have the best record in football coming into the week. Foster backed up, slammed down by Justin Durant for a loss of a yard. Took a little while for the Texans offense to get simmering.
But they are a patient offense. They know it. They stay real to their running game, and then when they get you thinking run, they'll throw it over the top, which we have seen, and one of the best runners in football, of course, Arian Foster.
Nothing in the first quarter, not even a single first down after 39 first downs against Jacksonville, which tied the NFL record from 1988, a Jets performance. 2nd and 11, and with a player all over him, Martin makes the grab. Monday, when two broke girls get a business opportunity, they'll do anything to make it happen. A new episode, catch it Monday, only CBS America's #1 network. So 3rd down coming up. 3rd and 5 to go as we move in on 4 minutes remaining in the first half.
Well, all those drop back passes last week by the Houston Texans gave this offensive line a lot of confidence that they can protect in obvious passing situations. And of course, this is one right here.
Got to get to midfield for the first. Schaub goes for the long ball, looking down and knocked away. Then caught on the rebound by Johnson, who even hurdles over our man Pav on the sideline.
But this was a nice read by Matt Schaub. Everybody's up in press coverage. Houston against Andre Johnson. It's not the read, but he decides when he sees everybody up there, he can go, well, heck, I'll just throw it to Andre Johnson. That's a good decision. And the ball is hit. And he stays with it to make the catch.
John Pavlovich stayed with it as he saw Johnson hurtle right past him. Pretty nimble by Andre. 43 yards with that catch. And first down run by Forsett. And the Lions again plug it up in a loss of 2, including Lawrence Jackson in on the tackle. Again, the Texans operating this week without Ben Tate, who's missed most of the season this year with injury.
John Pavlovich, let's see. Whoa, it's a good thing he ducked just when he did. Our cameramen are smart.
And talented. 2nd down and 12. Schaub dumps it across the middle. Walter is there. Tulloch is saying he didn't catch it. Official still waiting to make the call on it. I think they're going to give him the catch. Now give him 5 yards. Sue was bearing down on the quarterback, and that is a catch.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, that could have been really ugly for Schaub. That leg getting tangled up in an unnatural manner. 3rd and 7. Can pick up the first at the 2. Across the middle, and it's a touchdown for Houston. Owen Daniels. The last time they played the Lions, Daniels found the end zone twice. And now he scores in this one.
I couldn't even watch the play develop because Matt Schaub gets this out of his hand quick. He reads it, sees a little daylight inside. The play was designed to throw it outside, but what a good adjustment. Defense, Stephen Tulloch drops too deep in the end zone. Matt Schaub just keeps, he's workmanlike and just keeps getting it done.
Graham to tie it at 14. Score on a 3rd down play. Earlier had converted on 3rd and 5 with Johnson's juggling catch. 14-14 late first half. Little turkey, mashed potatoes, and stuffing, or dressing as some of us call it. And we appreciate you sharing part of your holiday with us. Owen Daniels, career high now, 6 touchdown catches on the season. See what the Lions can do in the last 2 minutes. On the hop, Logan breaking tackles, and he gives the Lions a jump start on this drive. Out across the 40, a 38-yard run back. During that commercial break, Coach Kubiak had a long chat here with Walt Coleman. He points 2 times, he says, and maybe perhaps he's talking about the 2 times that Ndamukong Suh was in on his quarterback. Once in the first quarter where he kicked the quarterback. Was it intentional or inadvertent? I'm sure he'll get asked after the game. And then the one where he was getting to shot but didn't sack him. Here's the throw to Broyles. Broyles running all the way down to the 22-yard line. Finally touched. I mean, he had a running lane with no Texan anywhere near him. Picks up 38 to take us to the 2-minute warning.
They blow it, Jim. Blown assignment.
Coming out of the 2-minute warning, we remind you the Verizon halftime report is coming up with JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cowher. Talk about the first half here in Detroit, plus a live performance here by Kid Rock, all coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Stafford over 200 yards now off that last completion. Over 200 for 20 straight games. He's got a 1st and 10. He's going to fling it to the end zone, and the ball is caught. What a catch! Calvin Johnson comes down with it. Right over Allen Ball for 22 yards and a touchdown.
Well, throw it to the big guy. On the outside, again, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything there, but when in doubt, Matthew Stafford's, why not give number 81 a chance? How many times, Jim, in the last 2 years have you seen highlights where it's just Calvin Johnson double covered where he jumps up and makes the play? And when you stand around him, you can understand why he makes those plays, because he's, for a wide receiver, he is a giant by NFL standards.
Well, they drive 59 yards in 22 seconds off a great return by Logan. The play to Broyles, the touchdown to Johnson. They make the most of their first drive starting outside the 20 as Hansen adds his 3rd point after of the day. Calvin Johnson was getting frustrated, getting double teamed all the time, Phil.
Yeah, he was, and his dad said to him, "Hey son, they're showing you respect," but it's a double move. It's really great coverage by Allen Ball, and when you're playing, if you're a safety, once that inside receiver goes outside, you have to look for Calvin Johnson right away. But you're right, Jim, he was getting frustrated. He talked to his father, and his father said, "Look, accept it. They're double covering you for a reason."
Trying to contain J.J. Watt and Stafford, who had, coming into the game, 2 touchdown passes in the first half of all the first 10 games. Total has 2 in the first half here today. Right on the money with that one.
Well, this is what they envisioned when they got Matthew Stafford as their quarterback. And Jim Schwartz said it. He wanted a dynamic, throw it down the field type of quarter. And I'd say he fits that pretty good.
Yeah. You say one of the 5 best arms in the league.
Well, you know, I'm not going to go through that whole thing. You got to be careful what I say. But look, if you can't see it on TV, well, trust me, in person, it's awesome.
Hansen boots it 5 deep. Martin says we'll take it at the 20. Houston will have 3 timeouts to work with 1:49 on the clock. Johnson already over 100 in this game. 103 yards.
Well, what I like what they do with him now, Jim, is it's just not Calvin Johnson lining up to the outside trying to win. They put him inside as the inside receiver. They put him in motion. They do whatever they can to help him get a better matchup. Because as we've seen today and in his whole career, doesn't need a lot of space to make the catch. Maybe it's Andre Johnson time. 1st and 10. Back to Daniels, and that will use up some clock and pick up only a yard, maybe 2. He's knocked down right away by Stephen Tulloch. Again, the Texans have all their timeouts. And you're wondering, well, why don't they take a timeout real quick here instead of wasting all this time? Because they want to be careful and make sure they get at least 1 first down to change field position before they really start working the clock for their offense. You don't want to give it back to Detroit. Shot on 2nd down, goes back to Daniels again. And that is not going to be worth anything. No gain. Again, coming up, Verizon halftime report. The guys back in the studio. We sent along our Thanksgiving wishes to everyone involved in that operation, that great operation back in New York
Happy Thanksgiving to them all and to their families.
And Jim Schwartz didn't call a timeout either. And why he didn't call a timeout? Because he knows that's giving great respect, and I think rightly so, this Houston offense.
Let's see if Houston can pick up the first and then call a timeout, try to do something with it. 3rd and 8. Over to Johnson. Johnson stretches out for the first down, and Houston might now, they'll call that quick timeout with 22 seconds. 3rd catch by Johnson today. The Home Depot SEC on CBS heats up the holiday with 2 big games. Tomorrow, the Bayou Bengals tangle with the Razorbacks. And then Saturday, one of the all-time biggest rivalry games, Auburn will battle the Crimson Tide in the Iron Bowl. Beginning with college football today. Of course, Gary Danielson and Vern Lundquist will be out doing their thing this weekend. Gary Danielson, the longtime Lions quarterback from 76 through 1984. 25 seconds now, the adjustment on the clock. Texans with 2 timeouts. Schaub has the ball knocked out, and the Texans fall on it. Cliff Averill was the one who came in on Schaub. You see Jackson trying to take it away from Ryan Harris, but Harris won't allow that to happen to keep the possession with Houston. Averill knocks it out.
Oh, coming from the right side of your screen, and Garrett Newton, the starting right tackle, is out. That was Ryan Harris.
Houston says that's enough. We're going to take this thing to the locker room. Houston will be receiving the second half kick. That's the end of the first half with the score. Detroit 21 and Houston 14. Stafford with 246 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Back with the Verizon halftime report. After this message and a word from your local station, you're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47.
Yeah, don't forget the other one.
And happy Thanksgiving back here in Detroit, where the Texans will be receiving the second half kickoff. And mighty impressive start to this game. First half for Matthew Stafford, over 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
Well, he's been on target. There's no doubt about it. Everything you thought about him and we said about him comes true, doesn't it? He is a home run hitter, looks for throws down the field, and he has an offense and a receiving core, mainly Calvin Johnson, that really fits into what he does.
Calvin Johnson, all smiles off that first half performance with 5 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. There's Thomas walking away, who also caught one. A score, that is. Oh, Hansen puts it on a tee, and let's see what the Texans can do with this second half. Houston has not lost a road game this year, 4-0 on the road, and this is the start of a 3-game road swing, a big one with not only Detroit but then Tennessee and at New England. So Martin wants to run out with this one, and was it a questionable decision? Well, no, he gets past the 20s to the 24-yard line. Let's go back and revisit this in Ndamukong Suh. A kick in the first half in the groin area for Matt Schaub, and they're saying back in the studio they felt it was definitely intentional. Do you see it that way?
Well, let's say this. Is it intentional? Yeah, it maybe could be. Just kind of we said, is it definite? Without question, I could not say definite. My answer to that is I would have to go no. Am I going to read into his mind? Yes, I know his history, but that's a lot to say when you look at that. We'll see what the NFL says. I say there will be nothing done about it because you can't definitively say it was intentional.
The first down throw wide of the mark for Kevin Walter.
Now, you know, the other play that came about that Gary Kubiak was talking about was when Matt Schaub was dragged down in the pocket trying to throw the football down the field. We're looking at his legs, and somebody said to me, well, that could have been horse collar. Remember, the quarterback cannot be horse collared when he's in the pocket. You can grab him with the jersey or inside the shoulder pads and pull him down.
Ryan Harris in for Derek Newton, who's questionable return after being shaken up first half. And the Lions come roaring in on Schaub. And it's that very matchup, Averill over Ryan Harris, who took over at right tackle with Newton banged up.
Yeah, it's a nice job. Cliff Averill, you know, Jim, we were here 4 years ago, 92, going to come inside or just gets around it. Yeah, he comes all the way in. Boy, it took a long time, so the coverage down the field is good. But you remember we were here 4 years ago. We looked at their team and go, man, there's not much here to like. And Cliff Averill was the one guy, the one player really on the whole team that stood out.
It's a right knee injury for Newton. That's why he's questionable for the right tackle. 3rd and 18 on the draw. It goes to Foster, who glides out to the 28, but it'll be a 3 and out to start the second half for the Texans. 11-yard gain by Foster. He needed 38 coming in for a 1,000-yard season, and he's now 2 yards away.
Well, the Texans were a little worried about their right side of their offensive line. Ben Jones, Derek Newton coming into the game because of the pass rushers of Detroit. Well, you take out the starter and bring in Harris, there's even more room for concern when you bring backups in.
Donnie Jones, who's had a punt of at least 55 yards, 5 consecutive games, and this is a good one to Logan at the 19 and able to escape the first tackle. Moving up the sideline with a flag thrown in. Out to the 32-yard line. Nading on the tackle for the Texans. That was a 53-yard punt.
During the return, illegal block at the back, number 35 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So Matt will back up the Lions to close to the 20-yard line with the lead at 21-14. Lions tying a season-high 21 first-half points. Playing on Thanksgiving Day for the 73rd time. The Texans' first ever Thanksgiving appearance. Quick jump is Antonio Smith. I didn't think he was going to give up on the play, even with the whistles going, but Walt Coleman will settle this one.
Encroachment, number 94, defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Matthew Stafford, a Dallas area kid out of Highland Park High School, a school that has a rich tradition and a strong tie to the Detroit Lions franchise.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Bobby Lane, Doak Walker, Matthew Stafford, they all came out of Highland Park High School. And of course, Bobby Lane around the Lions.
Still talked about.
Yep. One of the legendary names. First and 5, and here is Stafford picking up 4 to his tight end Pettigrew. With Bobby Lane. He was drafted 3rd overall in the 48 draft by the Chicago Bears, but spent 8 years with the Lions, and his number 22 is retired. And Jim Schwartz, when he was up here interviewing for the job with the Lions, he saw a picture on the wall there at the facility. Yeah, Bobby Lane. He said, it's time we find the next Bobby Lane.
And I think they found a guy that could throw it like Bobby Lane. He said, soon as he went back to Tennessee, one of the first things he did was get on his watching film of Matt Stafford and Sam Bradford.
LaShore on 2nd and 1, scoots down low for the first down. Yeah, he went right back to Lane's High School to find the quarterback that they would build this franchise around.
He talked about it, Jim. Of course, Sam Bradford stayed in school, but he watched Matt Stafford at Georgia. And if you watched him, he was down there in that offense. It was like you see right here. A lot of downfield throws. It was really dynamic. And he says the margin of error, or the margins are so close in the NFL now. Your quarterback, he thinks he's got to be dynamic, make those plays that can be the difference.
On 1st and 10, they go ground. And LaShore is going to be backed up a yard. Hit early by Connor Barwin.
I'll say this, when you talk about what Detroit Lions, what they did in the first half, when you look at this Houston's defensive line. What would concern me if I was a fan and the coaching staff, which they talk about, you know J.J. Watt is going to get some pressure on the quarterback. The next guy has got to help out. J.J. Watt is getting double teamed. Connor Barwin, Brooks Reed, merciless on the outside. Somebody has to help him out.
Of course, they're without Reed, injured in that first half. 2nd and 11. And another toss to Pettigrew. Yeah, the injuries mounting a little bit on that defensive side with Reed injured here earlier today. Cody, a former Lion and defensive lineman, he's out. And here's what Watt faces.
Peterman there, nice job by him. Took it outside. That's why you always say when you look to your right as a quarterback against the Houston Texans, most of the time he's going to be on the left defensive side, but to the right of the quarterback where a lot of passes are thrown. Of course, most of the quarterbacks in the NFL are right-handed.
3rd and 5, and the Lions have had a good day on 3rd down. Trying to convert again, and they will, as Boyle slips through the tackle to pick up the first down. They're going against a defense that statistically is the best 3rd down defense in 30 years in the league.
They're in position, Jim. You got to make the tackle. Bryce McCain, it's nice coverage again, but he tries to wrap him up around the legs. He uses his arms. He does the right thing, but Broyles able to pull out of it.
Yeah, pulls out of it and picks up 13. They're now 6 out of 9 on 3rd down. Here they are on 1st down, running with Kevin Smith. But only for a yard. That's just the 11th rush of the day for the Lions, who are finding all kinds of success up top. He runs into Jared Crick, who makes the tackle.
You know, sometimes you just run the football, let your wide receivers relax a little bit, give your quarterback a breather before we start chucking it again.
People are saying Jim Schwartz's team's got to win out to have a chance. There's Scott Linehan.
Called an excellent game so far here today. He knows what this offense is about, so they keep looking and keep trying for the big plays.
Their offensive coordinator, 2nd and 9, former head coach of the Rams, Linehan. And Stafford has again, Boyles open, and he is smashed about 2 yards short of the first. It'll be 3rd and short coming up. And a reminder again, Super Bowl MVP Drew Brees takes you on a private tour of his New Orleans home in an all-new person-to-person. That's tomorrow, only CBS. Be sure you don't see it to set your DVR here for America's #1 network and Drew Brees.
Sorry, Jim. I think we're going to see what a lot of teams are going to start trying to do to this defense of the Houston Texans. Spread them out, make them defend from sideline to sideline. Tough to cover receivers and these good throwing quarterbacks with all that space inside.
Of course, they gave up again a ton last week to Chad Henne. 3rd and 2 as Stafford has another first down and another conversion. Who else but Calvin Johnson?
Oh, and you watch the coverage. Calvin Johnson in the slot, top of the screen. Kareem Jackson on him, and the windows, they're so small. But about the last 3 or 4 throws, Matthew Stafford is just putting them dead on the money. It's taken 4 good throws to get the last 4 completions. That's the one thing you learn quick in the NFL as a defensive back when you come out of college is how good and how accurate the quarterbacks can be.
On 1st and 10, Kevin Smith backs in for another yard to pick up 6. And what about the all-iron MVP? The trophies are on their way here to Ford Field. Thanks to officers Thomas Taylor and Michael Kane of the Detroit Police Department. Bringing in your trophies.
Yeah, trophies are nice. I like them. And some of the winners we've had, Jim, in the past.
Notable winners. The first ever was Stephen Boyd, a linebacker here for the Lions back in '98. First quarterback was Batch. First year multiple winners. You see that? And Ware winning it twice. 2nd and 4. And that's Kevin Smith earning another carry, but this time no gain. So some early candidates there, partner. What do you think?
Well, we got all the stars, but let's just be honest. I want to find somebody that's doing the dirty work. That's what it's all about. All iron. You know, it's a play on words. They make fun of me because I iron my own clothes, and Jim Nance sends his out.
Who's
to get
they?
pressed.
Who is they make fun of?
Well, I don't know. You don't do that?
A little sensitive.
But we'd like to find a defensive lineman, an offensive line, somebody that really comes through today in the clutch and helps some of these stars do what they do.
Third and 4, I'll take it. Stafford, can he do it again? Not this time. A little miscommunication, and Stafford is buried after the throw. He's going to Pettigrew, I believe, and this will bring out Hansen.
Yeah, you know, Dominic Raiola, the center, little feisty, and he is good leader inside. J.J. Watt almost gets there, and Raiola picks him up, takes him down. And they're tired of hearing about J.J. Watt all week long here, this Detroit's offensive line.
Maybe they want to hear about Jason Hansen now, playing in his 20th Thanksgiving game. Just a remarkable career he's had. Third all-time NFL scorer.
How about that? Raiola was going to take somebody's spot on the field goal, but
and Lions have to take a timeout. Well, only 10 were on the field for the Lions.
And here comes number 51, who's not on the field goal team. Here he comes, says, I'll do it. Then they call a timeout, and Sherrillis, number 77, comes out and takes his spot.
Here comes the 46-yard field goal try. Hansen 20 of 22 on the year, and old reliable drills it for the 10-point lead. Well-played drive for the Lions, and Hansen good from 46 yards. Only their second kicker since 1980. Eddie Murray went all the way to the early 90s, and then Hansen now 20-plus years. You take other teams like the Dallas Cowboys, you'll see later today, they've had 18 kickers. During this span, the Lions have had only 2, including Eddie Murray. As Hansen gets ready to boom it down the way. Houston down double digits as it was last week, and Martin slammed at the 18 by Ashley Palmer. And let's take a look at our Nationwide Insurance action cam. As we look at Ford Field, the home of the Lions since August of 2002, when it opened for a preseason game. All right, let's see what the Texans can do here. 3 and out, their first possession of the second half. They're going to come out without Foster in the backfield in this first snap. It'll be Forsett instead. Fake to him and rolling out, looking long. Looking for Walter, who jumps. Doesn't come down with it, and the Lions very nearly did with Chris Houston.
Matt Schaub didn't have time to really set up and drill this football down the field. The play action fake gets them. What a nice move wide in the corner. Nobody back there.
May have been a little early contact.
It could have been early contact, but it's missed time by Kevin Walter too. The football did hang up. No question it's early contact.
That's Sue slamming and shoving Schaub to the ground. Schaub had hit his last 8 passes before that one, and here they go with Forsett. He didn't think he was down, and he's still going, and the officials are acting like it's still a live play. Forsett taking it all the way, and still no signal that he was down.
You cannot hear the whistle on the field.
There's already a challenge flag out, which you don't need to challenge a touchdown. All plays have to be verified. But Schwartz emptied out the pocket. It doesn't matter. You can't challenge a touchdown. They get reviewed anyway. Is there any way he's down? Elbow, forearm, he's going to be down.
Yes, he is down. Now the question is, will they mark off a penalty on Jim Schwartz
for throwing the challenge flag?
The result of the play is a touchdown. The play is not reviewable by Detroit. It will be a 15-yard penalty on the kickoff, but the play is not reviewable. Touchdown.
81 yards. There was never a whistle. That's going to be the thing.
That is the thing, Jim. You're right. Since there's no whistle,
I mean, clearly down.
well, there's no doubt he was down. And since there was no whistle, they cannot go upstairs and review the play.
And this Lion crowd is livid. Going to be in the books as an 81-yard longest run in franchise history and a touchdown. The Texans get the touchdown. During that break, you spoke with the league office about that call.
Yeah, I did. And what happened is why they couldn't review it. Here's the rule. Once Jim Schwartz threw the flag, that means they could not benefit from a review. So they couldn't go back and look at it because of that. So when I said, Jim, about, the whistle didn't blow up, that was wrong. It is about the fact that Jim Schwartz threw the flag. That was illegal. And then you can't benefit from throwing the flag once you illegally throw it.
So had he never thrown the flag, the touchdown would have been automatically reviewed.
Yes.
And the play would have been, again, the touchdown would have been taken away and the tackle would have been back there after a short gain of 4 or 5. This is Gunther Cunningham's reaction.
Well, Gunther Cunningham, defensive coordinator, of course, he's upset. I mean, they're all upset. It was an emotional throw by Jim Schwartz. You see something like that, you see the replay, it upsets you, you throw that flag, and that's what cost him a touchdown.
First down, end around, and it's Mike Thomas. And Thomas able to pick up 13. So the Lions come out and pick up a good play here as this crowd is still disturbed by what happened there before. Little stutter step, patient move, and Thomas is making contributions today already with a touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you, learn something about the rules every game, but that's something, you know, I've never had it come up. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen it come up.
Just when you think you've seen them all, right?
Yeah, that's good, though.
What you want?
Well, I mean, it's good to learn.
Man.
First down out of the gun. Ball is in and out of the hands of Calvin Johnson.
That time Matt Stafford went to the ground, and what you have to do as a team, as coaches, you got to settle down. The crowd is still going crazy, and thinking about that last play for the touchdown.
Kind of explains now, you might have seen right after the touchdown by Forsett, there was a shot of Schwartz on the sidelines pointing toward his chest, saying like, that one's on me. And I'll bet after this game, he's going to say that he knew right away after the officials explained it to him, dropping that flag was a huge mistake. Second down at 10. Across the middle and too high, almost pegged. That was Dimps of the Texans who got a hand on it, looking for Pettigrew. And here is the touchdown again. It becomes the longest run in franchise history. It should have been held to about a 7-yard gain.
Well, as you watched it, the officials did let the play go. So that was a really good job by Forsett to keep going, because why? He didn't hear the whistle, and probably in his own mind, he didn't think he was down either.
So that really the first mistake, there being no whistle, set off the second mistake by Schwartz to emotionally throw the flag. And in the end, it all adds up to a Texan gift, a Texans touchdown. Third down and 10. As that pass is again deflected at the line. There's Barwin putting heat on the quarterback, and the football will be returning to the Texans.
Well, when you get penetration with a defensive line, can push forward. Oh my gosh, and it's J.J. Watt, of course. I thought it was. Not only does he knock it down, then he runs out there to make sure somebody's not going to catch the deflection. Watch this. Boom. Oh, well, he got pushed to get out there. How's that?
JJ with a couple of swats in this game. He played a couple of college games here when he started his career at Central Michigan. As a tight end, I might add. There's the punt. Down to Martin. And he's out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. Huge momentum change here. Barwin coming in on Stafford. Lions don't make anything out of that series, and the Texans have the football back. Down 3.
Hi, I'm Matt Schaub of the Houston Texans, and on behalf of my wife Laurie and I and our 3 daughters Madison, Mackenzie, and Michaela, we'd like to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving.
And thank you, Matt and family. Laurie is watching back home in Houston. The Texans get in about 8 tonight. Preparing right now, he thinks, for sweet potato casserole. As Foster now comes out for a gain of 7. When he talks about Laurie's sweet potato casserole and her dressing, he said on the back end of that, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, he's a big guy, you know, and when you're a big guy, there's one thing you like. You like to eat.
Yep. Came out of the same draft class back in 04 as Ben Roethlisberger. And while we're sending along Thanksgiving greetings, congratulations to Ben and his wife Ashley. Last night gave birth to their first child, a son, Ben Jr. Congratulations. Happy Thanksgiving. Second down and 3 as Foster cuts outside and still able to take it out to the 50-yard line. Got a block over there by Andre Johnson, who caught your attention on film last week with a big block.
Yeah, he had some great blocks last week. Owen Daniels going across the formation, but how about Arian Foster? It's like he's on ice skates. He just glides around back there. He makes it look so easy. And you talking about finding the right kind of offense for your skill, that is Arian Foster, this what they call zone, stretch, whatever you want to say. It's kind of glide, wait for an open spot, then hit it.
First and 10, and Forsett back in at the 50. End around with Martin. And that was Coleman trying to make the tackle, but Martin was able to slide past him and finally forced out by Florence and gained 17. This year in more than 70,000 schools at nearly 2,000 events and through the creation of youth fitness zones across the country, NFL Play 60 has improved the health of millions of American children through the power of play. Visit NFLRush.com to learn how NFL Play 60 can come to your community. Houston with 126 yards rushing in this half, 81 coming on the controversial touchdown. First and 10 with flags.
False start, number 82, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Again in the AFC right now, Houston in first position with 6 games to go, with Baltimore at the moment the 2 seed. Houston beat up Baltimore earlier this year, handing them one of their 2 losses. New England and Denver. If it ends this way, these will be the same 4 divisional winners out of the AFC as last year. It's going to be a fascinating chase to the finish for those first 2 spots to get the first round bye out of those 4 decorated teams. First and 15, and the chase is on here, and Schaub just throws it away as Sue was running after him.
It's not going to be intentional grounding. There was a running back. They're trying to throw the screen. But boy, you're throwing a screen, you got to stop them a little bit. I mean, these defensive linemen, especially Sue, they can run so fast. If you don't make contact at the line of scrimmage, well, they make the play happen too fast.
Second and 15. Schaub with 143 yards passing on the game. Looking for more, and he's almost intercepted. Jumping in front of Andre Johnson was Ricardo Silva.
Nice job by Silva. He's allowed to run in front of the receiver and go for the catch. There he is deep. He's just reading the quarterback and the receivers, and that is, he has just as much right to that football as Andre Johnson on the outside. Silva came in last week, played very well.
If they don't gain anything here, you'd be talking about a 56-yard field goal by Graham, an attempt at a wet field goal, which would be a career long for him. Third and 15. And it's over to Martin. Got a block. Martin gets closer for Graham. Down to the 27. It'll be about a 45-yard field goal try coming up to tie the game.
Nice call. That's almost the exact same play they ran last week against Jacksonville, Jim, to Andre Johnson to win the game. So they knew it. They wanted to get in field goal position, throw a screen. The defense is being aggressive. They took advantage of it.
It will be 45 yards indeed. Shane Graham, 18 of 22 on the season. And the Graham kick. It hooks through right down the middle. And we've got our third tie of the day.
Crowd still mad about the run.
I don't think that's going to let up the rest of the way.
I don't think so either. It's going to be a lot of dinners tonight ruined by that run if Detroit does not win this game. Well, let me rephrase that. They're going to be mad even if Detroit wins.
Yeah. Might have been a lot of Thanksgiving dinners thrown against the wall already.
It's not funny, but you're right.
10 points in 3 minutes and 59 seconds by the Texans. The touchdown right here by Forsett. Again, no whistle. So he played it out. And then, of course, every touchdown automatically gets reviewed upstairs, unless, in this case,
yes,
before the review, it's usurped by a challenge flag, which was the case from head coach Schwartz. So he, no doubt, was down.
But, you know, Jim, rightly so. If there's a little doubt, the officials are taught, if they're not sure of the call on the field, let them play, because you know you can go back and review it or whatever. Yes, his forearm is down. Not only his forearm, his other arm, his knees down, everything. But it happens so fast out in the field in live action, they don't make the call.
What would your old coach, Coach Parcells, say when you face a moment of adversity like this? In the middle of a game, emotions are high. Graham delivers another touchback.
Well, you hear it so many times. Focus. In other words, you got emotionally got to get over it. And look, we're talking about a game. I say it all the time to you. Football is nothing but adversity. Every situation, everything you do, something's most likely going to go wrong. How you deal with it and overcome, that's what the game is about.
Sunday, the NFL on CBS rolls out regional action. In one matchup, Peyton Manning and the Broncos on fire. They'll head to Kansas City. Others will see Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Other regional action, including some getting their game late with Baltimore at San Diego. All getting started with the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines at noon Eastern time. Coming up this Sunday here on the home of Super Bowl 47. First down. Finds Pettigrew in the middle of the field open. He'll take the 5 on first down. The emotions are heightened not only in the stands but on the field as the Lions, you know, the scheduling, they don't get to control it, but it's not like scheduling a homecoming opponent on Thanksgiving Day. Look, in recent years, the quality of the opponent on Thanksgiving Day.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? And one of their bitter rivals in 2009, the worst, Green Bay Packers at 6-4.
One of the reasons why the Lions have lost 8 consecutive games on Thanksgiving Day. LaShore with a nice run for the first down. Needed 5, picked up 7.
I like it when the Lions keep somebody in the backfield, at least make the defense think run or pass. When they put 5 wide receivers out there, they're putting so much pressure on their offensive line to block one-on-one too many times. So keep this defense honest.
Moving in on a minute to play here in quarter number 3 with a tie game. Here comes the blitz. Pass away. Caught. Royals. You said Royals must step up today, getting that chance to play with Titus Young being sent down. And what do you think of his action so far?
I think he's done well. Here comes the blitz, the timing. They pick it up. Well, they give Matthew Stafford. How about these deliveries, man? I'll tell you. He is sidearm. He's everywhere. Trying to think of a good sidearm baseball thrower. Who is that?
Dan Quisenberry.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Of yesteryear. Second down and 6. On screen here, it's LaShore. And LaShore with a little wiggle to get more room and more out of it on a late flag. Pettigrew might be called for the illegal block. It was a 17-yard gain.
Illegal block in the back, number 87, offense. 10-yard penalty.
Here's Pettigrew coming in. Made contact on Quinn.
Well, look, you know, it really probably didn't affect the play, but it doesn't matter when you're the one assigned, the official down the sideline, to see that. You see those arms extend, a defender go down, it's a flag. But that was a good call. You've been throwing the ball, you're holding as a quarterback, the screen outside, you get the defensive lineman upfield, and you saw the great separation.
Jim Schwartz didn't think it was a good call. Second down and 3. The spot from the point of the foul. And up the middle, it's Bell. Joy Bell driving, and still going all the way deep into Texan territory to the 35 and running behind Rob Sims to end the third quarter with a 26-yard jolt right here by Joy Bell. Game is tied after 3. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Oh, it's been a good one here in Detroit. Jim Nantz, Bill Sims, fourth quarter getting started with the Lions at the Houston 35-yard line. Tie game. 6 DBs in for the Texans. Here on a first down snap for Stafford and the Lions. And that ball caught again. Pettigrew for 6.
Well, one thing you got to watch anytime, Jim, we talk about when you play the Texans defense. J.J. Watt, this time he's at outside going against Peterman, I should say inside. They're moving him around, trying to give him different matchups, but it doesn't matter. Wherever he moves, that offensive line, they know if you're free, look for him and double team him. Done a great job blocking him in passing situations.
Second down and 4. Sliding for a first down, Stafford with a new set of downs for Detroit. Got hit on his head at the end of that, gain of 6.
Kind of like screen plays when you're a quarterback and you go up the middle, when you go to slide, it's not the people in front of you got to worry about, it's the defensive lineman chasing you from behind. That's Jared Crick, hits him in the back of the head.
Awkward hit on the quarterback, but he's fine. First down at the 23. And it's Bell wide open. Joy Bell is in for the touchdown. The local hero out of nearby Wayne State went to college 2 miles from Ford Field.
He's the finisher, Jim. That's why they bring him in. They like to bring him in late in the games because he's tough, big, and strong. Peterman and Sherlis on the right side. Oh, Peterman comes off, makes the second block. What a good job.
He even gives the fans a lion leap. And Hansen swings the momentum back to the Detroit side. Well, he had the big run at the end of the third quarter to set it up and then takes it 23 yards. Lions back in front. Joy Bell had a 26-yard run at the end of the third quarter, last play, and then his second carry goes for 23 yards and a touchdown. Houston now 2 rush touchdowns allowed today, the first 2 of the whole season. sandwiched at the 18-yard line. Hit there again by Ashley Palmer.
Well, Jim, on the sideline, there's a lot of yelling going on. J.J. Watt's going to get double teamed. Now watch Glover Quinn. Is he supposed to fill in this hole? But as they went to the sideline, they get separated. And there's the gap. And that's Bill Kohler, defensive line coach. And J.J. Watt. And J.J. Watt reading his lips. He goes, I know the play. So
Houston comes out with a toss to Casey. And Tulloch, along with Durant, bring him down for a gain of 7. And thanks to you, our generous viewers, the American Red Cross has been helping thousands affected by Hurricane Sandy get back on their feet. On this Thanksgiving weekend, we thank all of you for making a real difference. Learn more at redcross.org. CBS cares. Second down and 3. Try to go wide. Foster looking for anything. Cuts his losses as Florence pushes him out and sets up 3rd and about 5.
how about that job by Drayton Florence? Little cornerback against Dwayne Brown. Watch number 76 pulling. How does he look? Is that a franchise left tackle? You bet. But a good job by Drayton Florence being tough.
Andre Johnson has only 1 catch in the second half, a short one for 7 after 2 for 80 in the first half. He's not in on this play. Yes, he is lined up on the left side, but here they go with the pass to Daniels. No. And the Lions make a big stand, forced the 3 and out.
Justin Durant on the coverage. Number 52. How many times have we said his name today?
A lot.
A lot is right. And they talked about him. Speed. He can really run. And they like him in the pass game because he kind of reads receivers well and understands what they're going to do with certain routes. And that time he understood it because he was all over it.
5th time Houston's 3 plays and a punt. Low punt that can be returned by Jones. It's Logan on the return. Jones didn't catch the punt. Logan gets the return out to the 46. Where he's tackled by Brian Draymond. A Lego model of Ford Field on display in conjunction with the Henry Ford Museum's latest exhibit on Legos. And William Clay Ford, the owner and chairman of the Lions, with his team leading by 7 here in the 4th quarter with 12 minutes to go. Flings it. Johnson plants the feet. Was looking to spin away from Jackson, but Jackson got him by the ankles.
Well, Houston trying to find a way to stop this offense. They blitz. It doesn't get there. Boy, Matt Stafford that time steps into the throw, and he gives Calvin Johnson a chance to catch this and turn and make a big play. Good job by Jackson getting his arms around him.
13-yard gain. Stafford over 300 on the day now. Got LaShore at the running back position, and LaShore bangs shoulder pads with Dips of Houston. It has 5. At the end of this game again, Phil will be selecting his all-iron MVP, and you, the fans, can help decide the winner by voting now at cbssports.com.
Yep, a lot of big names. You see Justin Forsett, got to put him up there just for being alert. Not hearing the whistle, gets up and takes off running for that long touchdown.
That's Brady James of the Texans.
Well, you got to think to it, Jim. 5 quarters of play almost last week.
No question.
All the throws, all the running, the heat of that stadium down there. Short week traveling to Detroit against a team that is a lot better than their record says.
Hey, listen, now that there's a Thursday game, and there'll be 3 of them today, but now that there's a Thursday game every week, just look at what the home team has as far as an advantage on the season so far. It's one-sided.
It is. I remember Matt Schaub telling us when he went to Denver, Sunday game, of course, loves playing on the road. Nothing like playing well on the road and making a crowd go quiet, he says.
2nd down and 5. For Johnson, and no flag as Kareem Jackson was running shoulder to shoulder with Calvin Johnson.
That's I really like Kareem Jackson, just not afraid of this challenge today, that's for sure. And even though they got an injury, Jonathan Joseph, a lot of people thinking is their best corner, he's out. They're not changing a great deal how they're playing. I thought early, hey, they're going to be a little conservative, and no, it's a lot of tight man-to-man coverage. They put the pressure on these defensive backs to cover these guys down the field. You play for Wade Phillips, you know what you're getting into if you're a defensive back.
It's 3rd and 5. Coming in on Stafford, and they get to him with J.J. Watt, 2nd sack of the afternoon.
Well, it was the blitz that time. Danielle Manning does the blitz. He's going to come from the outside, makes the quarterback step up, then look out. Here comes 99 to finish it.
Well, Stafford was limping a little bit, coming to his feet. J.J. Watt and the family watching back in Appleton, Wisconsin, all rallying around the TV at his aunt and uncle's house. The Spring-Gettys there, where they'll be going out and playing in the front yard after this one ends. The Turkey Bowl, they call it in the family.
That's awesome.
A loss of 8 and kills a chance for a field goal. So Harris comes in with a pooch punt. Fair catch on his knees. Martin at the 14. 30-yard punt. Texas take over inside the 15. Watt with a sack on the first play of the game, and now here 1 in the 4th. 10:06 to play. Ball actually right at the 15. Houston down 7. Schaub looks for the long ball, looking for Walter, and Walter not able to catch up with it. Coleman was back deep along with Florence.
Hey, you know, Jim, he's open. Watch, Kevin Walter comes in motion, goes right at the safety, goes deep. There's a big seam, but you got to throw it so far it allows the defensive backs time to readjust and get to the throw. I mean, about the only way he could have completed that one was just to bear up and drive it in there on a line drive.
Schaub 2 out of 8 this half. 2nd and 10. There's a completion, but a short one. And that's to Garrett Graham for 5 yards. So another key 3rd down coming up. And again, here's your list. You can vote at CBSSports.com for the Phil Simms All-Iron winner. You got Raiola representing the offensive line for the Lions.
Well, and the fact that he ran out there for the field goal trial, but he's not on the field goal team, that was a big deal. And he's definitely lived up to what they say about him. Tough, scrappy, willing to fight.
3rd and 5. Walter was the intended target. And back-to-back series, the Texans cannot even manage a single first down.
Watch 83 coming across the field, and Matt Schaub is upset because it's a read. If it's a guy following you, run across the field, don't stop. But if nobody's following you, you're supposed to stop. That's why Matt Schaub is so upset. It's what happens when you give these dual reads to receivers. What you see in the quarterback can be different.
Another Donnie Jones punt. To Stephon Logan, and it's a Texan right there. The ball is out for the flag. A flag is thrown right away. It ends up in the hands of Logan anyway. He got walloped a little early by Brandon Harris.
He jumped right up, Logan, too. No doubt about it. That is fair catch interference.
personal foul hit on the defenseless receiver, number 26 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And the Lions will have the ball near midfield. Welcome back, Turkey Day in Detroit. A tasty little treat of a game here to get the day started, with the Lions desperate for a win to save a season, to stay in the hunt, give them any chance. 1st and 10. Stafford to LaShore, and LaShore steps out of bounds after a gain of 14.
Wow, that was good. I'm thinking, hey, they're going to run the football, try to get a first down, get rid of some time, fake the reverse, fake the run, and there is no defender from behind that can catch this play. Stafford, it makes him, you laugh at this maybe, but he's a great screen thrower because he can make all those arm angles. So even if he's under pressure, he can throw it overhand, sidearm, and really comes in handy throwing screens.
Bell comes back into the game. He's in the slot to the right. We saw Scott Linehan, offensive coordinator here, calling a great game, and that one's incomplete. Linehan and this Lions offense going strong. His brother-in-law, there is Scott Linehan, is actually up here in the booth with us today, and star of the CBS series Person of Interest, the great actor Jim Caviezel. Their brothers-in-law.
There you go. He was great, of course, in Stroke of Genius, the Bobby Jones story. Seen that movie about 5 times.
Passion of the Christ. Here's Jim Caviezel. He'll be on tonight.
And I'll be home in time to watch it.
There you go. 2nd down and 10. Well defended that time by Alan Ball, denying the completion to Mike Thomas. Ball was a starter for Wade Phillips when Wade was the head coach up at Dallas for 1 full year back in 2010. And again, this is a big part of the story here today, Phil. Jonathan Joseph not out there.
Yep.
Would have been seeing Calvin Johnson in that matchup.
Yeah, that's a big part. Calvin Johnson's taking advantage of that. He's got catches for big yards, and also Jim Backus, the starting left tackle, out. So you got to give a lot of credit. Detroit's offensive line has held up very well.
Here's a big 3rd and 10 now for the Lions. Up 1 score. The rush is on, and Stafford will not escape him. Just trying to hold on to the football as Watt is the guy in the end who got to him. Connor Barwin was there first. That really helped force the sack.
Coverage down the field. They come back. That time they get back off the receiver so it doesn't happen quick. That extra beat allows the defensive line to get there. Bryce McKean on the slot up top. Everybody all over. How about Danielle Manning? Good coverage twice right on the edge of field goal range, and they get nothing out of it.
Hey, take note, that's 2 straight times now the Lions have been sacked and taken out of field goal range. And Watt has 3 sacks on the afternoon. Beautiful punt here. Beautiful punt covered up by the Lions. Staying in the field to play. Ashley Palmer downs it. Nick Harris doing a beautiful job. Has not had a single touchback the entire season. What a time to knock one inside the 5.
That's an unbelievable stat. Nice job. Gets it, comes out, and you got to remember, even you can't touch that end zone line. Nobody does.
They spotted at the 3.
It's like the stat. You tell me these stats. I love them. Dwayne Brown, starting left tackle.
It's amazing. Not a single holding call.
How do you do that when you're out there on an island like him every game by yourself?
Since 2008, not once flagged for holding. Sue coming after Schaub, who's just going to fling it out of bounds and into the arms of Donnie Jones, the punter.
Boy, Ndamukong Suh, the one thing he can do, he can run. And we've seen it a couple times today. When Schaub goes out of the pocket, he can chase you down. Because we talked to him a little bit yesterday about it. He weighs around 300 pounds. I know it's a lot, but it's light for him. But he likes it because it gives him great endurance. So late in the game, you can still rush the passer and chase guys like we just saw.
Midway fourth, 2nd and 10. There's a defender right there for Foster. This Houston holds it to just a 2-yard gain. 3rd and 8 coming up. The Texans, off of 39 first down performance, have only 11 today.
Wow. Well, Detroit, there's no doubt about it, on both sides, even the fans, inspired today.
Texans were comeback specialists 4 days ago. Can they do it again? Shot, middle of the field. What a catch. Reaching out for it, Andre Johnson. And again, that's his 2nd catch of the 2nd half, 4 overall.
Well, they have the perfect play on. Andre Johnson's going to go over the middle, watch the middle linebacker go deep, and Andre Johnson is going to get right in front of him. What a nice catch.
Beautiful. Reaching out, snagging it.
So Stephen Tulloch, I know it's easy for me to say, but you got to know the down and distance. So Andre Johnson's going to go just past the first down line.
1st and 10, and a cutback move, Foster. Switching hands with the football, and a straight arm and running out of bounds. Got a beautiful block there by Dwayne Brown, and it picks up 15.
Boy, is that right. How about taking it to the right side? Just chase him down. Dwayne Brown pushes the defensive tackle way down inside, so there's nobody there for the cutback.
And I might mention Foster now over 1,000 yards on the season. They get out of a big 3rd down jam and have a 1st down here at the 32. And that's Johnson again, Andre Johnson. Straight ahead to the Lions side of the field, to the 44 and a gain of 23.
How about that? Nice rhythm, perfect timing. Matt Schaub is a really relaxed, graceful thrower of the football. That's what helps make him so accurate. And that was a nice catch by Andre Johnson, but the experience they got last week, throwing the football so many times and dropping back, it's helping them right now.
Play action, looking, tossing down the sideline, and out of bounds. Chris Houston had his hands on it. Not sure he would have had any ability to keep both feet in, but very close to a pick.
Yeah, it was, I don't know if Matt Schaub was trying to throw this one away, but Houston doing a good job not letting Andre Johnson get behind him. But you know, Jim, I mean that when I say, well, how can you say that about they get confidence? Well, they've been a running football team. They don't just drop back and throw it 40 times a game.
2nd and 10. It's going to be closely defended as Foster spins to try to get anything out of it, but Durant was right there and holds him to a loss of 2. As we'll move inside of 5 minutes before the next snap, and a 3rd down coming up. Houston has all of its timeouts. Zebra defense for the Lions. We'll see what that means. Got a timeout now called by the Texans. Team that's lost only once this year, and that was to another team out of the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers. Wednesday in primetime, JB and Chris Collinsworth join Phil Simms to showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style and presentation and analysis. Inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime. Well, they got 3rd and 12 to go. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Got to get to the Detroit 34 for the first. Gary Kubiak last night talking about how it's been nice to see how his team's found different ways to win, whether it was a slugfest in poor weather at Chicago or a warp speed win against Jacksonville, now trying to come from behind for the 2nd straight week. 3rd and 12, and that's Foster. Will they go for it on 4th down? They'll be about 5 yards short. Ball at the 41.
Well, it's the same defense we saw before, Jim, but this time the defense doesn't drop as far back. So they're able to come up and make the tackle. I agree with this decision here. I would go for it on 4th down. What would you think? Your defense, can they stop Detroit's offense? I don't think you can trust that.
They don't have Sue on that defensive front. It's actually 4th and 7. Chop protected, fires it, open man, and it's Johnson for the first down at the 25. 4th and 7, they pick up 16.
Good pass protection up front. Matt Schaub can hang in there, and it happens quick for him over the middle. Andre Johnson, top of your screen, coming across. Everybody jumps up to the first down marker to cover the receiver. Nobody behind him. That's why Andre Johnson was wide open.
Johnson slipped after the catch. They did not again have Sue in on that last snap, but he returns here. Johnson with 52 yards receiving on this drive alone. First down. Schaub lobs it open. No, he overthrows Daniels.
Well, it's a play they love. And they tried it early in the game, Jim, and they missed it. And what happens is they're going to do a double move up here, and then here comes the tight end just down the seam, and he's going to be wide open. There's the fake up top. It's not there. Nobody to cover him as he runs down the seam of the defense, but Matt Schaub misses him. Well, twice today they've had it. Couldn't connect.
2nd and 10 from the Lions 25. Schaub now rolling away and throws it away.
Well, I think with this much time left, 3:17, Houston still has 2 timeouts, and you automatically tell your quarterback, think about it this way, you got 2 plays. Ndamukong Suh, oh my gosh, just barrels back to the quarterback.
Johnson to the right side. 3 receivers left, including Lescar Jean. 3rd and 10. It's over to Johnson. He's got a blocker in front. Johnson down to the 13-yard line and another first down.
Even though they diagnosed it, Jim, they couldn't get there. The right tackle, does he get the block out front? Absolutely. Harris, what a job by him. And I saw this last week. Kevin Walter, 83, able to get the block, and nobody there to make the tackle. Well, this screen game's working.
And that screen game with Andre Johnson. Won a game last week, picks up a crucial first down here. Gone to him 4 times on this drive, and he's delivered. 1st and 10, and Schaub. Oh, another completion, and that's the backup tight end, Garrett Graham, picking up a first down, 1st and goal to go as we approach 2 minutes.
How quick does he get rid of the football? Look at Ndamukong Suh coming right up the middle, almost like he's untouched. But I see this a lot with Matt Schaub. He can get rid of the football under pressure.
Now with the clock moving at 2:10, the play clock at 18, there's really no reason for them to run a play here before the 2-minute warning.
They definitely should not run the play.
But they do, and it's Foster driving and being pushed back short of the goal line.
You don't run the play because you make it go there. You get that play on the other side, and you make Detroit use a timeout.
Jim Nantz, Bill Sims. Inside of 2 minutes, Texans possibly heading to overtime for the 2nd straight game. 2nd and goal. It's Foster, and Foster's in for the touchdown. The Shane Graham extra point away from tying at a 97-yard drive that began back at the Texans' 3-yard line.
Yeah, it was just a great drive in so many ways. The 3rd downs, the 4th down pickup. But really the offensive line, their pass protection, the crowd noise against the defensive front that is disruptive, as good as any you'll play against. And how about that blocking down inside? My gosh, Smith pulls out there and gets a good block. Arian Foster read it perfectly.
Graham ties it. 15-play drive that ties the longest drive of the season for the Texans at 97 yards.
It's like Matt Schaub said to us, that looked like the Houston Texans from about 4 years ago when they just dropped back and threw it almost every single down. But what you got to like about Matt Schaub, he is showing you, and he showed me, that dropping back and throwing the football is not a weakness for this football team like I thought it might be, pass protection-wise, and he can beat you if he only gets to throw it 20 times a game or 50 times.
Well, you think about the big third down catch deep at the other end when Johnson reached out to snag it, to move the chains, and then the little pass on a 4th and 7 to sustain the drive that went for 16 to Andre again. We got the Subway postgame show coming up after this one. JB Dan, Shannon Boomer, Coach Coward. Complete recap of the game here. Plus, again, Phil will present his All-Iron MVP award. All coming up on the Subway postgame show. Well, there hasn't been a tie game here in Detroit on Thanksgiving since 1998 when Pittsburgh and Coach Coward were up at the Silverdome and they had all that flap over the coin toss there. Coach Coward, I know, even discussed it on the pregame show today.
He's still mad about it.
But still, 1:55 to play, and the Lions have 2 timeouts. Ball bouncing around, scooped up by Logan, and it ends at the 24 by Brandon Harris. And again, you think maybe you're splitting hairs, but the Texans like to go ahead and run another play on the north side of the 2-minute warning. Had all things been equal, they waited and snapped it outside of the 2-minute warning. It was the same play where Foster got stopped inches shy. They would have been scoring somewhere around the 1:15, 1:20 mark to go in this game.
Yes, if there wasn't a timeout call.
Right.
So really, to make it simple, you've given the Detroit Lions offense one extra play. That's just the easiest way to understand it and look at it.
Has the time and able to swing it over to Calvin Johnson, who races out of bounds, pushed out by Daniel Manning, but it's a good gainer of 18 for the Lions.
Boy, good blocking up front. They're running the game, they're running the pick, and they get a lineman dead free. That time Earl Mitchell's to unblock, but he can't get there quick enough because Matthew Stafford just drops down and delivered one from the side.
Boy, Calvin Johnson and Andre Johnson, 1-2. They are all-time in receiving yards per game, and they both are posting huge numbers. 140 now for Calvin.
Andre Johnson might not be going to his teammates' dinner tonight after all this running. Go home and rest.
1st and 10, and incomplete. And that was Rude who prevented that from going to Pettigrew. And again, the Subway post-game show immediately follows the game. We'll send it back to James Brown and the whole gang back in Studio 43, and Phil will be presenting his All-Iron MVP award on the Subway post-game show. Hansen getting ready. He's made 36 field goals on Thanksgiving Day alone in his long and decorated career. Would love to have a big one, a big chance here. 1:40 to go, 2nd and 10, and the Lions are down the field, and the ball is out. Pettigrew, incomplete. Incomplete. Would have been in field goal range.
Rude once again knocks it out. What a throw by Matthew Stafford. 2 footballs on the money. Pettigrew doesn't come down with either. He just rifles it in there, and before Pettigrew can pull it in,
What a play
it's
by
knocked
Barrett
out.
Rude. Rude stripped it, and it's incomplete.
And you'd say, oh, he had possession of that football. No, he didn't. It's a bang-bang play. In other words, catch and knock out at the same time. That's why it was ruled incomplete on the field.
Timeout, Detroit. I want to set up something here for 3rd and 10. And again, if the catch was made, they would have been in field goal range.
Here you go, full speed.
Barrett Rude playing because Brady James was nicked earlier in this game, and Brooks Reed went out. Another linebacker and a big part of this defense went out earlier and back in the 1st quarter. Brian Cushing lost for the season, so injuries mounting, and guys like Rude have to step up, and in fact he did right there.
Yeah, how about the last 2 plays for him? You know, I was down in New Orleans for a preseason game, and he was in the film room with the New Orleans Saints trying to figure out what was going on in their defense. He'd been picked up like 2 days before, and I can't quite remember. I think he saw a little action in the preseason game against the Houston Texans.
Well, the Lions have 1 timeout left, but first they face a 3rd and 10. Scheffler in a slot to the left. He's a valuable target for Stafford. Stafford has the time and has the target, and that is in fact Scheffler with the catch for the first down. What a throw. Right in front of Bryce McCain. Prevents the football from going back to the Texans, and now the Lions are on the Houston side of the field.
Bryce McCain must be saying, what do I have to do? He is all over the receivers. Perfect throw, though, by Stafford.
Stafford again. Incomplete. And denied by Quinn.
Tell you what, as you watch this last catch, you look at these teams, they are exhausted. Scheffler going across the field. Nice job making the catch, going down and securing it too, which is the right thing to do.
Local kid from Ann Arbor and Chelsea High School. 1 minute exactly remaining. 2nd down and 10 from the Houston 45. Just has to get rid of it. He is buried after he throws it by J.J. Watt. Somehow able to get back to his feet. Watt with 2 big sacks in the 4th quarter alone.
Yeah, he's taking some big hits here, Stafford, here in the 2nd half. He gets around. The play doesn't work the way they want it to. Right in the chest. His head is up. Hits him with the face mask. All legal. Wraps his arms around it.
3rd down. 3rd down and 10 to go with 56 seconds.
They double covered Calvin Johnson last play. I think they're going to do it again.
Johnson wide to the left. Stafford looking his way. Going long. Going for him. And the ball is almost intercepted by Manning. And that'll bring up 4th down. Manning has a lot of experience going against Calvin Johnson and the Lions from his former Bears days, twice a year.
Well, they've done this a lot. It had been interesting if Matthew Stafford would have stepped into it and got it to the back of the end zone. But Danielle Manning, you said it, from Chicago, has seen this act a lot of times.
So now they'll have to punt with 48 seconds. Martin's moved up all the way to the 25. There's no reason for him to handle this should this be anything inside the 20. He's going to let this go over his head. It's Harris, again without a touchback on the season, pins him at the 2, and at this point, 39 seconds, 2 timeouts. I don't know how much interest Houston will have in trying to do something from that deep. I would be satisfied with an overtime. Just go ahead and take it.
None.
Yep.
In other words, you know, I see this all the time. You brought up a great point. Why catch the punt? And I say here, why run a play? Don't even hand it off. Take the snap and kneel down.
Shane Graham.
You know, Jim, I always think about situations like this. I think of the Super Bowl, Raiders and Redskins. Last play of the half, a throwaway play. Jack Squire intercepts a Washington pass, runs it in for a touchdown, changes the game, it's over.
Houston going to be content to take it to overtime.
There'll be some tired fans when this game is over. The energy's been incredible by the fans here today.
And the Lions, I was going to say, you might want to go ahead and take another timeout just to make sure it's a clean handle on the snap. So they have taken a timeout, Detroit's last.
Call it plays in there. Head is the call. He said head, it is a tail.
This is what we were talking about back in '98, the Steelers and the Lions, and the mistake when Jerome Bettis did call tails. But a misunderstanding there. The referee thought it was heads. Detroit scores on the only overtime possession, a one-possession win. A Hansen winner from 42 yards that day. Move it forward. That's all he had to do. And this game's going to overtime, and Houston will be playing extra time for the second time in 4 days.
Wow.
And this is the one that the Lions fans are still rueing, the way this one was handled, even though after you got the explanation out of the league office, it was...
That's right. Could have been challenged. Yep. Jim Schwartz threw the flag, the challenge flag, and once you do that, now you can't benefit from illegally throwing the challenge flag, and that's why they couldn't go back and take the touchdown away from him.
So heading to overtime. Thanksgiving Day, it's appropriate you go back for a little bit more. How about some seconds? Overtime rules, 1 15-minute quarter. A touchdown or a safety on the first possession would win the game, but basically, of course, as of the last year here, things have been changed. First it went to the postseason, now all games, regular season, every team more or less guaranteed a possession unless there's a touchdown or a safety on that first possession. 2 timeouts per team, and all the reviews come from up top.
I always thought, Jim, if your defense is playing well, you can't do it. But if you lose the toss and your defense is on the field, if they do kick a field goal, that gives you 4 downs to work when you get the football. But in this game today, do you have faith that your defense can stop the other offense from scoring a touchdown? That answer's got to be no.
What's in-house doing out here? All right, men, we're going to play a 15-minute overtime period. Both teams get to possess the ball unless they have a touchdown or a safety. Each team has 2 timeouts. Replay will be handled upstairs in the replay booth. Houston is a visiting team. They'll call the coin. Heads and tails. We call tails. Here's a heads. Detroit won the toss and will receive. Detroit won the toss and will receive.
Now the Lions will be getting the football first as we head to overtime in the Motor City. Big memory from Detroit, Chicago, the opponent back in 1980, overtime, and Dave Williams returns the overtime kickoff 95 yards for a touchdown to give the Bears the win. And our producer, Lance Barrow, was the spotter back in that day. I think he had the right guy identified. Wow. And a happy Thanksgiving to Lance and our director Mike Arnold and their families and all of our crew. We get set now. Lions to receive the overtime kick. Logan, what we thought about it was advised by Smith.
Boy, good job not bringing it out. That was high and deep. That's what you got to read. He would have never got close to the 20. Well, whoever's not tired, go on the football field. It's Houston's defense. You know, I've been watching Calvin Johnson today. He told us on, you got to remember the days, Tuesday, because you got to talk to yourself during this game on Thanksgiving. Man, keep going. Don't stop. You know, it's you just got to trick your mind and tell yourself that you're not tired.
8 for 140 and a touch. Bell is the running back, but they'll stay in the shotgun on first down. And now Stafford on the run, flings it down the field. Broyles able to hold on to it. Brian Broyles, rookie out of Oklahoma, beats Alan Ball for 40.
Yeah, it's a read. They're stopping inside routes. Look at Calvin Johnson. He's covered. You remember early in the game, I always said when Stafford breaks the pocket, he looks down the field, and Broyles, oh boy, how quick was that decision by him? Quarterback scrambles your way, take off down the sideline. That's what they teach you.
Stafford now 408 yards on the game.
Royals looks pretty quick, though, doesn't he?
He does.
He might. People messing up, get suspended for the game. Gives you a chance.
On the sideline they go, and Ball was defending, and there is no flag. Mike Thomas the target. Thought there might be one. It was close.
Top of the screen. Alan Ball, good contact.
Never turned around.
Well, he didn't turn around, but he never got in the way either, so I don't know. That's a good no call. Got to give these defensive backs some chance in this game in the NFL.
Andre Johnson hoping to have a chance. Again, they have to allow nothing more than a field goal to give the Texans offense a chance.
Been in this spot a lot, though, haven't they, Jim, about this part of the field?
Yep, down the middle. Complete. Pettigrew. Ball comes out. Stripped by the Texans. And it's Sharpton with the recovery. I believe it was Manning who took it out of his hands.
I think you're right. It was good coverage.
Darryl Sharpton has the football. Man who's missed a lot of time over the last year, really returned last week, made his presence felt in that game, and does so here. The first takeaway in the game all day on either side. Look at Manning swing him around and strip it out.
That? Well, we met Daniel Manning last night. He knows a lot about this passing offense of the Lions, but when you see him, you can understand why he can wrestle with the guy as big as Pettigrew. He is a big, thick safety who can play physical. Did it there.
Now any kind of score would win it for Houston. Foster high-stepping in and out of bounds after a first down pickup. Running behind Walter and Graham for 11.
You said it right. Graham on the outside gets a block. How about Dwayne Brown? Just pushing this guy. Still has contact with Kyle Vanden Bosch down the field. Allows Foster to get outside.
Houston has never led in this game. Had one overtime win in its franchise history before last Sunday, 4 days ago. Now looking for two in a week. They fake the end around to Walter. Down the field they go, and Johnson has it with a Lions player draped on his back, Chris Houston.
Well, this is just a good disguise. It's all about Andre Johnson going down the field. He's going to see the safety. If he can't go by him, he's going to hook it up. He couldn't. And then he drives back to the football. And, Jim, how many tough catches have we seen Andre Johnson make today?
8 catches overall for 165, and a number of them were great plays by the receiver. First down from the Detroit 40, and Foster moves ahead for 2, and Durant on the tackle. And again, you look where the Lions are on that list. It's near the bottom of the list, still technically in the hunt, but you said they need to win out. So desperate times and desperate moment here for their defense. Meanwhile, Houston with the best record in the league, trying to advance to 10-1. Second and 8. And Foster, stiff arm, picks up extra yardage with that move, and may in fact have the first down. He stiff armed Tulloch, and the Texans are in field goal range for sure. Picks up 11.
Running backs in this NFL now, if you tackle them high, just like Arian Foster there, they will put that stiff arm on you and keep on moving. And we've talked about it, how smooth he is. You know, he changed his diet. Now he's a vegan. But it's said, what's it doing for him? Giving him more endurance. And you can see that power still there in the 5th quarter.
Got 91 yards, and he told us earlier this year this team wants to rewrite the history books for the city of Houston. In some action on the top side, and it's going to be backing up the Texans 5.
False start, 83, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Here's the play that everybody's going to be talking about. The running back for Set, who was down, runs for the touchdown. The whistle was not blown. And they could not challenge it because Jim Schwartz illegally threw the challenge flag.
On 1st and 15, it's Foster, and they converge on him at the 29. Now that, of course, they'll never forget that in Detroit, but let's not forget Houston had to do a lot after that, including putting together a 97-yard drive, including a 4th and 7 conversion to tie the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things happen after that. You just can't go, that's what sent it to overtime, but it's just one of the big plays of the game that we're all going to look back and talk about when it's over. Detroit had many opportunities to end this game today on offense and defense, and they didn't do it.
Taping up the right hand to Foster. So they bring in Forsett on 2nd down and 12. And this makes things a little more difficult. A field goal is the option as Sue comes across along with Fairley. And a loss of 2. 3rd and 14 coming up.
Yeah, that's getting around a 48, 49-yard field goal. So that's not a chip shot for anybody, even though it is indoors.
Shane Graham's career long is 53.
I would expect Detroit's defense to be up, be very aggressive, and try not to give up any yards on this next play. Dare them to throw the football.
Matt Schaub flanking Walt Coleman. Going to call a timeout with 1 second on the play clock. Again, you only get 2 timeouts in the overtime. Talked to Matt Schaub. We both did earlier this year. He talked about coming back this season. He had that injury last year that forced TJ Yates to go the rest of the way and into the playoffs. And Schaub talking about motivation for him at an all-time high.
Oh,
they really feel like at Houston, all things are coming together for this franchise this year.
Well, I think it's, you know, you never know what's going to happen. But I think a lot of people felt, and I was one of them, that if he was the quarterback, it was pretty easy, or I thought they could have had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. You know, you can't expect a rookie to come in with not having the experience. And not only that, it's going to change the way you call and design your offense. But Matt Schaub, very motivated. And Jim, he's just been solid all year. He goes unnoticed. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. The only thing that's going to give him the credit is going to have to do extremely well in the playoffs to maybe win a Super Bowl.
See how ambitious they are to pick up more yardage. They go ground, but they make things even longer for Shane Graham. They did not look at throwing the football there at all. Another loss of 2, and now we're talking about a 51-yard range for the win.
That play was designed just for one reason, to get on the left hash, so that must be where he likes kicking from.
Graham, so many years in Cincinnati, 7 years in all, 8 NFL teams. He's 2 of 3 in his career in overtime. John Weeks to snap at the Donnie Jones. And a timeout called by the Lions.
Jim Schwartz says, you know, he likes to call these timeouts, but he doesn't want to give the field goal kicker a free chance. In other words, don't let him get so close to it and then get a kick, so they got a feel for the field goal the next time around. Detroit had the game in hand last week, Jim. You think against the Green Bay Packers, they gave up the huge drive at the end where they let them go down the field and take the lead.
It's kind of the way the season's been going for the Lions. You know,
there's
just been so many situations where they've lost tight ones. Meanwhile, Houston on 1-score games this year is 4-0. And one Shane Graham kick from 51 yards away from winning another one by 8 points or less on the season.
Well, we said at the beginning talking about this game, margins are small in the NFL. And right so far, the Houston Texans in crucial moments, they have made the plays.
Here you go for the win. No good. It was long enough, but it was a yard left. Not even a yard. Inches. Graham thought he had made it. Look at him. Gary Kubiak had his back turned. Schwartz with the body lean to try to help. And his team will take over at the 41 at the point of the field goal try.
That's right. It gets lost in the fact the long field goal try that look where the Detroit Lions offense gets the football.
Hansen already up and getting loose. On first down, Stafford has it batted down. Watt for the third time a swat today.
It's really incredible. I think you're going to find more and more players. You know, it's a copycat league. More and more players watch this, see it. Their defensive line coaches are going to coach it more. And it's the worst thing for a quarterback. I mean, truly the worst. If you have to worry or think about a defensive lineman knocking down passes, you throw off target. But the biggest thing, if they get tipped up in the air, just get ready to make the tackle.
2nd and 10. And the Lions with new life. What will they do with it? Got a completion to Scheffler, who hurdles past the Houston defender, past McCain to pick up another 5 and gains 14 overall.
Matt Stafford's just been incredible in the pocket today. Falling backwards, they cross the 2 inside receivers. And how about that move by Tony Scheffler? Dangerous.
But effective to the Houston 45. And Stafford on first down. Incomplete. Went right back to Scheffler. And Clover Quinn was there to defend. They're coming after the quarterback best they can.
Yeah, here comes the blitz. 5 people from the outside. Pocket is giving quick. J.J. Watt comes around. Oh, my gosh, they don't even pick him up. They do a little game where the defensive linemen cross. Don't chase defensive linemen. Wait, somebody will run in your spot if you're an offensive lineman.
Scheffler hurt his arm on that play, so he's out. 2nd and 10. Quick release, incomplete. He's going to Mike Thomas. And now 3rd and 10.
You know, this really good. What they're doing, instead of getting up on the line of scrimmage, the defensive backs for the Texans, they're staying off. And they're pressuring the quarterback, and they're driving through the receivers. That's 3 times in the last 6 or 7 plays I've seen it. Alan Ball going off the field.
And Brandon Harris coming in, the second-year man from Miami. 2nd round pick a year ago. Let's see if they go after him. 3rd and 10.
Going after Calvin Johnson.
Pass is incomplete. Oh, and in the air. McCain has it. I'm going to rule it on the field. An interception. Bryce McCain, who had just been hurdled past a couple of plays ago, on the rebound off the Royals' attempted grab, comes up with the football. And ball probably hit the ground. This will probably be overturned.
All reviews go upstairs, so Jim Schwartz doesn't have to throw the red flag.
Better not.
That's right.
The previous play will be reviewed.
The red flag will have some glue on it for the rest of this year.
That's right. If it's ruled incomplete, it would be 4th down. We're still waiting for the verdict. Will the interception stand? Don't think it will, but Houston already with 1 takeaway in this overtime. McCain tried to make the pick.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground. The pass is incomplete. It'll be 4th and 10 for Detroit at the 45-yard line.
Interesting here from the 45. You could look at Hansen, 62, 63 yards, but they're going to bring out Harris for the punt instead.
Yeah, to me, no quick decision, easy decision for Jim Schwartz. go in, punt the football, back them up, hope your defense got a little rest on the sideline and they can do it. 8:42 to go. You still have one timeout. You're going to see the football again if you stop.
And especially when you have a weapon like Harris, who twice has pinned Houston inside the 5, and again, without a single touchback punt on the season. It's a lot of air under this one. And it bounces at the 3. It's tapped back into the field of play and down by the Lions.
Incredible.
It was Kasim Osgood. Remember all those years he made plays like that for the Chargers, earning 3 Pro Bowl trips off special teams. He was the one who saved the touchback on that occasion.
I thought for sure that football was going to bounce into the end zone. But Osgood, and he did the right thing. He gave it a little force to make sure it wasn't a close play.
So the ball was down at the 9. And Houston with 140 minutes of football action and whatever you want to call it, 4 or 5 days. Having to go nearly 5 full quarters on Sunday and already nearly halfway through another extra quarter here in Detroit. Pressure on and the pass away to Foster. Foster able to slip out of an ankle tackle and go out of bounds. He's pushed out of bounds near the 15 and a gain of 6.
Well, good call backed up. They got some courage here, throwing the screen. A couple times we've seen Matt Schaub throw from the end zone again.
Yeah,
Dominic Sue
trying to end the game right there with a safety. But Schaub released it with plenty of time, even with all that heat. We'll call it 2nd and 5. They fake to Foster and almost intercepted. Vandenbosch got his paws on it, knocked it down.
Again, inside. It's the quick pressure by Ndamukong Suh. They got another screen set up, but they're just not staying with their blocks long enough. Well, they're trying to. That time on the right side, Ben Jones. But Suh so fast after contact and just... That's about the 3rd screen play he has beat just because of his speed.
3rd and 5. The flag's out. And they're going to Martin. We'll check the flag.
I thought there was movement. They're going to call offsides, Jim.
Offside, 92. Defense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Avrils offsides gives Houston the first down. They needed 5. They get it off the penalty.
That's not 92.
He must have been lined up in the neutral zone.
Yeah, maybe he was lined up in the neutral zone. That's what it had to be, Jim. I did not see anybody move and cross the line of scrimmage. So Cliff Avril just trying to get too close to that football. That means his head was touching the football. That's the neutral zone. That's why it was a penalty.
And on first down, it's Foster. Foster near another first at the 29, and he's over 100. It's his 6th straight road game with a 100-yard performance going back to last season.
Ben Jones and Chris Myers, they get the block and down the field. How about Ben Wade? Wade Smith down the field making that block. Fatigue, such a factor in this game.
On first down, Schaub is it intercepted? It's Chris Houston and Johnson fighting for it, and it goes to the Lions. It's Houston taking it away from the Texans.
It's the same play to the right side that we saw him run earlier to the left. And Chris Houston, aggressive, cuts underneath the wide receiver. He recognized the play, He jumps in front and definitely gets to the football first to make the interception.
Johnson tried to reach in and fight him for it, but Chris Houston never let go of it, never budged an inch.
I was just glad we didn't have a simultaneous catch there, Jim, which we had early in the year when I was watching the game. I was ruled that.
First down from the 41. And Bell is backed up a yard, met by the likes of Sharpton and Connor Barwin. Just when it looked like the Texans were going to gain a little momentum off the flag that gave him a first down and a Foster run for another one. By the way, Scheffler on a slot to the right. He'd injured his arm on the last series. He's back in. Second and 11. Ball flopped and nothing there. Going for Calvin Johnson. Kareem Jackson, airtight coverage.
Yeah, it's airtight coverage. It's just when you work together so much. Calvin Johnson, Matt Stafford. When you feel this coverage down the field, he's trying to throw it back shoulder where he can make the adjustment. But it was too late once Calvin Johnson saw it.
I start to wonder here, the ball at the 42, if they don't pick up anything, now would you think about a 60-yarder?
No.
The time running down.
No, I'd punt it.
Stafford, 30 of 60 in the game. Got a 3rd and 11. Pass is caught. It is Scheffler holding on to it to the ground and a first down.
What a throw by Matt Stafford. Calvin Johnson comes underneath. The read is, well, if they follow him inside, to throw over the top to Scheffler. Calvin Johnson comes under, they cover him, throw it over the top.
And right over the top of McCain.
Beautiful throw. Blitz by the defense. Stafford once again stands in there, makes a throw right on the money.
And down at the 28-yard line of the Texans. It's Bell. And a gain of 2.
Now you're in field goal range, no doubt about it, but learn a lesson from what the Houston Texans did, Jim. Be a little more aggressive with your play calling. Your quarterback has been safe with the football all day long. Don't take it out of his hands. Maybe use your snap count. This is a great opportunity to get a defense that's going to be aggressive to draw them off sides.
2nd and 8.
2 tight ends.
And it's Bell. And it's going to be a loss. This is reminiscent of what Houston did.
Yep.
When it was down there right around the 30 and got a little conservative and ended up making the kick longer on the attempt by Graham. Here comes Hansen. They're ready to go with Jason Hansen. Probably going to be about 47 yards for the victory. And that Pittsburgh-Detroit game we showed you overtime earlier in '98, he won it then. Can do it now all these years later. Timeout though by Houston. Well, the Lions have waited a long time to win on Thanksgiving Day. It's been 9 years. Last time they went home.
Well, that's right.
With a victory. Went back out of the Ford Field and back to their homes and enjoyed a Thanksgiving dinner off a victory. Now they have to wait a few more seconds off the timeout.
You said it right, though, Jim. The teams they've been losing to, the Lions haven't been good in a lot of those games, period, no matter who they were playing.
Muehlbach to snap it to Harris. And Hansen to try to close it out. From 47 yards. And the kick hits the upright and it's no good! No good! The snap was a little Harris trying to save it. Got the laces turned around. At this point, I thought it was going to be good. Crashes into the right upright. Comes back into the field of play. How many times do you see that still careen and go through? But not on this occasion. And now Houston takes over in good field position at the 37. Incomplete. How about this game? We've had 2 giveaways in the overtime, 2 missed field goals that would have won it, 1 from each side. We're moving in on 1,000 total yards, 977 by these 2 teams. Calvin Johnson, Andre Johnson, both starring. And we have 4:28 to play in overtime. On 2nd and 10. A catch. Casey breaks a tackle, and he's all over to the Lions side of the field at the 48. Of course, there was a tie just a couple of weeks ago out in San Francisco. The Rams and the 49ers were unable to settle things even with an additional 15 minutes.
I think what's really there's so many things about this football game. This drive so far, pass protection is good. It's how the defensive linemen have kept up the energy to still be able to make the quarterbacks force some throws or get rid of them before they're ready.
Here's Schaub rolling out, firing it wide of the mark. And that was Graham.
And his best friend standing next to him, I think. Matt Schaub, every time he breaks the pocket, number 90 and Ndamukong Suh is right with him.
Les Tard Jean, number 18, into the huddle for Houston. He's split wide to the right. And there's the completion to Johnson. And the ball's out at the end. They're rolling him down on the field. Down at the 24 of the Lions.
Boy, Matt Schaub right on target once again. Good job by Andre Johnson just running through the catch. And he is down by contact that time. But he runs through the catch. By doing that, he gets those extra yards and absolutely puts them in field goal range. And they're going to check this play.
And again, as we've mentioned several times, the review has to come from upstairs. And they definitely, just to be sure, on such a crucial 23-yard play that puts Houston in prime position to win it, they must make sure this was not a fumble.
2 hands on the ball. Hits the ground, it comes out. That's what it looks like to me.
Chris Houston was trying his best. He was trying for the script well before Johnson was taken down. Look at him here, reaching around, and then with his left arm.
Yeah, 2 hands there. That's a good shot on the ground. Definite possession of the football before it comes out. They've been throwing so many passes with Andre Johnson deep down the field before he makes the cut. So that was a really good changeup. The quick inside route, and the timing was perfect by Matt Schaub. We talked about what this means to the Houston Texans. And not that it holds up in the playoffs anymore.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner was down by contact. First down.
Of course, Andre had the winner last week in overtime, and now he's got the catch. That puts Houston back in field goal range in overtime.
I was going to say, just the number 1 seed for the Houston Texans. You know, you're looking at the Ravens, the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, all hoping to move up in that seeding.
It's going to be a fantastic finish in the AFC. Houston has to go to New England in a couple of weeks. 1st and 10. from the Lions 25. An open man. It's Casey for another 11.
That was a perfect call there, Jim.
And now you're talking like 32-yard distance.
That's the call. They probably are going, we're not going to make the same mistake twice, which they did the first time they got down there, running it 3 times. So on first down, they go with the bootleg. It's wide open, and it's a much easier field goal from this position, of course.
And they bring out Graham. They bring him out for, again, one that'll be in the range of 32 yards with 2.5 to go in the overtime. His last miss from inside 40 yards was 3 years ago, actually today. Timeout called by the Lions. Ever seen an overtime fight like this?
No, I haven't.
Texans had their chance. Graham just wide from 51. Then Schaub was picked. Gave the Lions a chance, and Hansen talking inches.
You know, Jim, and it's. I think everybody says they love this overtime, and I guess it's better than what they used to do. But this is what concerned me, was the fact that you could have these 5th quarters in the NFL when it's so demanding as it is.
I think it's been exciting.
It has.
For the win. Graham. This time, look out. It is good, and just barely, but it's a winner for Houston. The Houston Texans with another 4th quarter comeback and overtime victory twice in less than a week. The first lead of the day for the Texans is this winner right here. Kept it suspenseful too.
It did. Texans showing they can win a lot of different ways. Another way to get it done today.
Matt Schaub. Pump fist. And look who had his back turned one more time.
Oh, that's funny. Oh.
Matthew Stafford can't believe it. Houston goes to 10-1 on the season. Lions fall to 4-7. That may have finished any hope they had. Oh, thank you, folks, for spending part of your Thanksgiving Day with us. For those of us who live on the road and carry our families deep in our hearts every week. This week our home was here in Detroit. And we send to you at your home on this great American holiday warmest wishes and loving thoughts to all of our families across the country. God bless you all.